Because I've seen too many times that grown-ass men don't have IDs, they don't have licenses, and I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all are adults. You are adults. And then girls be talking to people like this. He don't have a license and he don't have a state ID. What do you think kind of person this is? I'm ringing my doorbell. I'm like, what's up? He's like, hey man, I'm kind of scared. Can you help me? I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm really scared. I'm like, what happened? Yeah, he said there's a man in my apartment and he won't leave. I'm like, what? All right, so that's something I knew I did today to get some energy up for myself today. All right, boom. So my name is DonivanGray. Welcome to the Bamboo Project Podcast, where you can see how we turn our life into a living. So I want to shout out to the Bamboo Project family and all of our cousins. Appreciate you guys for coming in and listening to another episode again. Or if you're on YouTube and you're watching an episode, I appreciate you guys also. So if you do not have YouTube Premium, right, because some people don't have it, it costs like $15 a month, then I will put the link in the description below so that you can listen to this audio while you are getting things done around the house, such as cleaning. Maybe you have an errand you want to go run in your car, you need something to listen to, you can put on the Bamboo Project Podcast. So we are streaming on all of the major streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts, right? If you don't have those podcast platforms, some people don't. Everybody don't have those. We are also on Anchor, Breaker, Radio Public, Castbox, Overcast, and Pocket Cast. So you can go check us out on those platforms. If you listen to this podcast, because some people, like I said, are not all on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, right? It is called the Bamboo Project YouTube channel, right? Go on YouTube, put that in. We have 100 plus videos on there where we will be wholesaling real estate, where we will show us, we have a vegan diet that we have on there. So we have cooking tutorials, we have hair tutorials, we have makeup tutorials. We also have basketball on there. If you want to go check that out, that you're into that. We have travel and lifestyle vlogs. And we have, what else we have on there, Melissa? Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like there's something else. And clothing, right? Melissa makes her own clothes for the Bamboo Project _clothing. So when I listen to a podcast personally, right, I want to see how do the whole sound, right? A lot of times people hear podcasts and you never know what the people actually look like. I want to know what y'all look like. I want to see you actually move in real life. I don't want you to just be a weird person who I just listen to. I want to actually know that you exist. So for us, we have social media, right? We have Instagram. For me, it's DonivanGray, DonivanGray, and my beautiful girlfriend, her Instagram is AnetaBurn, AnetaBurn. Now, the Bamboo Project has multiple different projects, okay? We have a food project, a music project, a clothing project, a fitness project, and as you hear right now, the Bamboo Project Podcast. All the descriptions will be here on the screen, or they will be they will be in the description below. So I'm doing consultations. DM me for the price of the consultation, and we will schedule something. I should have some time this week to schedule for the consultation. So this podcast has 4 different segments, okay? We have the life update, which is where I show you how I go from being where I am right now to being a billionaire. So every week I'm going to go over what I did that previous week, and that will be a part of the life update. We have episode playback, okay? So episode playback is when I go back and I go, okay, I heard last week's podcast. I'm like, what did I think I misspoke on? What do I think I kind of fucked up on? What do I think I kind of wanted to expound on and really dig deeper into it? And I have a segment called episode playback for that. And if you want, you can go listen back to the episode also to hear what we were talking about. And then I have Donovan's questions, which is where I feel like I have some type of profound thought, because I'm a genius, or what's that guy called? I'm a philosopher. I'm not a genius. I'm a philosopher. And I usually have some very profound questions. So I figured, okay, you know what? Donovan's question. So when I ask a question, right, I don't actually give you any information on it. I just ask the question. Why? That is because I do not want to lead you on to think what I think. I just want your opinion. And depending on what you say, you could put it in the comment below, or you could DM me about your answer to the question that I had. So today's topics, which is the 4th segment, is girls calling a guy daddy and what constitutes being a hoe. Those are topics for today. So let's start off with my life update. And for people who are new to the podcast, you got some catching up to do. A lot's going on. Some more bullshit all the time. So we can start off today with. Oh yes, and like I almost forgot. So sometimes these episodes can be kind of long. I've been working on that because sometimes they run 3 hours. I'm like, all right, bring it down because that's a long ass time. I'm not famous yet or rich or successful. So right now, lower it than that. So I put timestamps below, whether you're listening to it or watching it. There's timestamps in the description. And you can see, where I was talking about this. If you find a clip on Twitter or on YouTube, you will know exactly where that clip is. The timestamp will be in the description below. So I'm gonna start off with my girlfriend first before I get to my life update, okay? Because I love my girlfriend very much. I think she's a beautiful, gorgeous, amazing individual. And I also want to take this time out to show how much I appreciate her, because I don't know what has happened over the last week or two, but I feel like she has become very mature. I don't know what it is that's happened. I think maybe it's because her birthday's coming up this week. It's really strange. I don't know. She just snapped her fingers and became like, I don't know, an adult or some shit. It's crazy. I don't know how this happened. But anyways, so something that happened, I don't know. You just been doing shit. I'd be like, wow, this is very mature, Melissa. I feel like you haven't been very, type of, you haven't been doing that, a lot. So I feel like that's a good start. I feel like, you just been very mature. I don't know. Have you had any conscious decisions as to become more like an adult or a 23-year-old?
What do you feel like I've been doing that's been more adult?
How you handle situations, how you react to things. Like, for example, today, Melissa tried to piss me off this morning, right? Okay, so we're gonna start off with that because Melissa has severe anxiety. For people who do not know, right? Severe anxiety by Donovan's levels is severe anxiety because I'm very what's the word? Intuitive. There you go, right? So I pick up on body language very quickly. So somebody that might smirk, to me, my body picks up as a huge smile. Like, oh my God, that's big. That's how my brain picks it up as. It could be a small little micro expression. Go look those up. And for me, when I perceive it, it's really, really big. So if she does something small, I'm like, Melissa, what the fuck was that? What was that? So for me, I say that she has severe anxiety, right? So today, I woke up feeling very refreshed. I felt very happy this morning. I'm like, okay, gonna get some things done, right? So we got the podcast today. I'm like, I'm gonna make some breakfast, not waffles today. I'm making amaranth porridge, which you can find on the YouTube channel if you want to see how to make that, because we're trying to be healthy on this side. And I talked about this last week that we have been eating some bullshit ass food for a long ass time. I'm getting fat. Melissa's butt getting kind of fat too. Her titties getting bigger. Everybody just gaining weight on this side, and it's not really a good thing, but like I said, her butt getting fat, so it's not always a bad thing either. So I'm making amaranth porridge this morning, right? And a couple months ago, we bought a what is that called? We bought an electric peeler, right? Because I'm about efficiency. So I'm like, how can I make peeling apples efficient? How can I make chopping apples efficient? So we bought a electric peeler, and we bought a dicer. You know what you see on the little commercial where it's like two parts. You put the apple on one part, and take the other part, you slap it down, and then it goes down to the bottom, and then boom, you got diced apples or whatever you put inside there, right? So we bought that, but we don't be using it. So I'm like, all right, I don't be cooking that much. So when I do cook, I don't use that stuff. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna fuck around and use this shit. Why not? I'm in a good mood. I'm gonna use this. So I get up and I'm peeling apples. That shit is amazing, right? You just put the apple on a little thing, press the button, it spins all the way around, peels the apple. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is I'm getting to it, right? I'm a chef now. So Melissa decides that as I'm cooking, she wants to cut peaches up, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever, we live in a house together. You want to come in the kitchen and cut peaches? I don't care. It's cool. So first she came in the kitchen and she asked me, why was I using a particular spoon to stir the amaranth? She's like, I wouldn't use that spoon. I don't know why are you always using that different spoon? I don't use that. I'm like, Melissa, it's a spoon. Now this spoon it's a spaghetti spoon, right? If you guys don't know what that looks like, it's has holes in it. It's kind of curved up or whatever. It has little teeth. And she's like, why are you using that one? Mind you, it's not like we're cooking spaghetti. We ain't cooking spaghetti in the morning. We ain't even using the spoon. We ain't used that spoon in mad long. So I'm like, yeah, why not? I use a spoon because when you stir it, it allows the amaranth to go through the spoon, and you get a nice little stir. It's like a whisk, but also like a spoon. It's a little of both, and a fork together. So that's what I use, right? And then I'm like, all right, whatever, cool. Mind you, this is not a first time thing. Whenever I'm cooking, she want to come in the kitchen and be annoying. This is very regular, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. I let it slide because I'm in a good mood. I remember. That's the first thing. I remember it in my brain. I remember it. Okay. So I go, boom. I let it go. So I'm cooking some more. And then I asked Melissa for I said, no, she said that I should, no. I was saying that I think that the amaranth, the texture is really good texture. I'm like, this is good. The way it's coming out it's like it's almost like porridge. It's not too thick. It's not too wet. I like this, right? She was like, oh yeah, you should put some coconut milk in there. I'm like, all right, sure. She's like, when you put other stuff in there, it's gonna get thicker. I'm like, all right, cool. So she got the coconut milk out the fridge, right? And I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is not coconut milk. She's like, it is. I'm like, Melissa, this is not coconut milk. She's like, no, it's coconut milk. I'm like, Melissa, it's just like ice cream. She's like, well, that's coconut milk. I'm like, huh. All right, whatever. So I'm like, I just scoop it in here. She's like, yeah, you just scoop it and then you just throw it in the thing. I'm like, all right. I'm like, so you can make ice cream out of this. She's like, I know, I can make ice cream out of it. That's what I was gonna use before. I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, Melissa, that's what you really, yeah, I guess you could make ice cream out of it with, sure. I don't know why that was annoying to her, but that's what it was. So I'm like, all right. So then that's number 2. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what that was, but I'm cool. So then, right, I pull out the dicer to dice the apples, right? Side note, Melissa likes her apples to be sliced. I prefer mine to be diced, right? That's just a personal preference. It's a personal preference for what you want to do, right? So, what are you doing? What you getting the mic for? You going? Can I help? What you get a mic for? Listen, I don't understand. You need a mic. This is not the Melissa podcast. This is not from. Yes. What you? Melissa is currently getting a mic because I guess she feels like she somehow needs a word in right now. So there's that. So as I was saying beforehand, right? So now everybody knows you got that girlfriend and boyfriend, whoever you with, you got that little annoying thing that they do all the time. Well, Melissa, this is mine for Melissa. And I guess this is mine to hers and whatever. So strike number 3, right? Because this one I almost lost my brain. I got so mad I started stuttering. That's how fucking pissed I was. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna tell you guys what happened. So I get the dicer out, right? Just cool dicer. Just we don't got nothing. We don't got nowhere to go, nothing to do, none of that. I take the apple that I peeled earlier. Oh, that was strike number 2. No, we on strike number 3 already. I forgot strike number 2. Strike number 2 was when Melissa was annoyed that I peeled the apple too soon before I put in the amaranth. That was the first strike. She's like, why you peeled it already? You didn't even start boiling the water. You already peeled the apple. Why you do that? Why you peeling the apple for? Right? And I'm like, let me just move this. Let me turn the gain down a little bit because I see the levels already acting up. So I'm like, all right. That was strike number 2. Strike number 3 was the coconut manna. Now we on strike number 4. We didn't already struck out and we hit the next batter. We had strike number 4 right now, right? So this is the last and final strike that I can remember until I remember something else. I'm dicing the apples, and Melissa starts getting annoyed because I'm dicing the apples. Do you know what? I don't know what you said. What you said to me? Why are you using that for? What's wrong? Why you gotta use everything? You use so much stuff. Why are you using that for? I'm like, Melissa, what is it? You could just use the knife. You could just cut it with a knife. You don't got to use the dicer to dice it. It's so much easier to cut it with. I'm like, Melissa, it is 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't have nowhere to go. I want to use the dicer that I bought for the house. What is the problem? What is the problem? I decided I want to use it. Well, you're going to wash it anyways, right? I'm like, yes, I always wash it. Yes, we have a dishwasher or I wash it. So I don't understand what the problem is. I'm like, Melissa, you know what? Get out the kitchen. Because obviously now I'm annoyed. Go stand over there. Because obviously she's going to, and mind you, while all this is happening, she's in the kitchen, right? In the kitchen cutting up pears, right? And I ain't say nothing about that. I let her slide. She in my space. I ain't say nothing. I'm like, cool. It's whatever. But she in there cutting up peaches. Melissa, take your peaches outside the living room. And we have the studio. Go to the living room because you need to wait till I'm finished doing what I'm doing because you're in the way right now. Okay? So that was how this morning went. Right now, I'm going to explain to you why I brought the story up because I feel like this is why I think Melissa has matured, right? So after I almost lost my mind and had fucking Tourette's, started stuttering because I was so annoyed. I'm like, Melissa, I was about to buy. I bought the dicer for a reason. I bought it for a reason. This is why I bought it, because I want to dice stuff. That's why I bought the dicer. That is why. What's the problem with me? I wanted to get the dicer. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. But she had a problem with that for whatever reason. Right now, I'm gonna come back to this later as to why Melissa's trauma brought this up, anyways, because this is a Caribbean issue. We're gonna talk about this later, though. So she's in here cutting, right? And the reason why I said she has matured, because if I had got annoyed as I did, right? Normally Melissa would shut down. She started doing that little like 7-year-old voice. Donovan, can you pass me the spoon, please? I'm like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I just wanna. I'm like, what? I can't hear you. I'm like, Melissa, what the fuck is wrong with you? So then she'll walk by me in the back, like, and this is another thing too. This is a preferential thing. This is not, nobody has to do this. Yes, nobody does. You do not have to do this or not do this. It's a preferential thing, right? Maybe it's an American thing. When she needs something or I'm in the way, she says sorry, right? Now I prefer to say excuse me, because I think sorry it's the more of it's a submissive thing that kind of puts you in like a low state when you're saying sorry all the time. So I just think she should say excuse me. But she come by, sorry. I'm like, for what? I just was sorry. I'm like, what? You didn't do nothing. You want to get the spoon? Yeah, sorry. I'm like, okay, now I'm fucking annoyed, because now I'm even more annoyed by the fact you acting like this. But today, Melissa didn't do that. Melissa just went in the living room with whatever she was doing. Probably was annoyed. I don't know. I don't care, because she was fucking up in the kitchen where I was at first. So that's how we started off. So she's over here, and it didn't turn into a thing. Was I still heated about it? Yes, a little bit, but it didn't turn into a thing. I got out what I had to say, even though I stuttered over it a little bit. And then she had to say what she had to say. We started watching a TV show afterwards, and it was it. That was the end of it. It ain't come up again until right now. That's it. And I think that over the last couple of weeks, maybe it's been like 2 weeks, I think, that Melissa has been doing things like this. Now, I don't know. It's been happening like that for 2 weeks. Things like that will happen. She doesn't get annoyed. No, not annoyed, because she gets annoyed all the time. She doesn't. That's not true. She doesn't revert back into herself and become smaller. That's what I have a problem with. I feel like if I'm mad about something and you feel like what you did was right or you have a reason for it, then stand on your reason. And if you feel like you was wrong, then say I was wrong. That's it. Just be like, yo, that's what I thought. But I feel like the option of being like, oh, well, there's no reason to do that. There's never a reason. Either you say, look, you were wrong, Donovan, because you should cut the knives, you should cut the apple with the knives because we have the knives and it's easy to do it, blah, blah, blah. Or you say, you know what, Donovan, you're right. Dice the apples. You want to do that? You want to have fun? Dice them. Cool. I was wrong. But to act like a child and become small, I think that is an immature thing, which I think over the last 2 weeks she has not done, which I think is very cool. So I guess I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend for that. She also been getting a lot of work done. I also feel like she's been very positive over the last 2 weeks, which is very good. So I just want to say that I love my girlfriend very much. Are you going to cry? I feel like she's going to cry. So another thing too. Yeah, another thing. Like I said, it's been little things like that where I just look at her and I feel like she's not being like a little girl, and it's so crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't know. She's just like being more mature. Now, with that being said, because I don't want her to hear this and think she has to be like this all the time, in terms of like, I don't want you to think like I don't like you being playful, because I feel like I don't want you to think like me saying this means like you got to be stern or whatever all the time. I don't know. I'm just saying, going down in the future, I don't want you to be like, well, Donovan, the reason I told you shut the fuck up is because last week on the podcast you said you liked when you said.
Why would I implement that?
Because you might think, because you didn't know what I was talking about until I said it on the podcast. So you might think like, oh, he likes that. Let me now be really wild and say some crazy shit. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's not what I meant. I just think that what you've been doing, I appreciate it very much. That's what I wanted to say. So why do you have a mic?
Oh, because Donovan failed to mention. Let me make sure that the mic can hear. You can hear me? Yes, okay. Donovan failed to mention that the electric apple peeler makes a sound. Yeah. It is not silent. I was sleeping, and I was woken up by the electric apple peeler at like 8:00 in the morning. Yes. And I'm like, that's not the time that I normally wake up. I normally wake up at 9. Either way, Donovan does something every morning to wake me up. Whether it's open the blinds, whether it's slamming dishes, whether it's stomping in the house. He always finds a way. So it was just hilarious because you found a new innovative way this morning and the thing that really bothers me is that you're using the apple. Okay, the reason why we bought the apple peeler and the dicer was because I was making apple pie and I was gonna have to peel and dice a large amount of apples all at once. So I'm not expecting Donovan to use this contraption for one apple. For one apple, to dice it for one apple, to peel it for one apple.
That? Do you feel in your chest that you being wrong? You feel
How
it?
am I being wrong?
You feel it? You feel it? It's you bought it, so you're never gonna use it again unless it's 1,000 apples. You're just gonna let it sit there.
But I feel like it's.
It's what? It don't even get dirty. You just wipe off the little part that the apple go on. Huh?
I feel like it's just what's the you know what? It's you doing it. It's you doing it.
Right. I ain't going to say, Melissa, you got to use this. I ain't say, Melissa, this is what you need to do. I'm in the kitchen by myself, and I decided I want to use apple peeler. Now, here's the thing that I know what this comes from. This comes from Melissa's upbringing. She's been traumatized. Anything that's new, don't touch that. Don't touch that. What is that? Don't move that. Don't touch that. What is that? Listen, I have Caribbean in my bloodline somewhere. Okay, I was raised around a Jamaican grandmother. Okay, I know how they are. You touch something, what are you? Stop running around the house. Either inside the house or you're outside the house. You're not both. You can't be running inside the outside. You're making too much noise. Sit down. Don't move. That's how they are. Don't do nothing that is anything at all. If you touch something that's there that you touched before and it's a new touch, don't do that. I don't like that. Don't touch nothing that's new. Anything that's new, they're like animals. Like don't if it's new, I don't like it. That's what it is. Anything that's new, they don't like it. That's what it is. I realize. It's like y'all don't like. And there's another thing too that I realized too with the Melissa's trauma that I've also realized. And I don't know if she knows this. Maybe she does. It's between things being new and not following directions. So if you do something that is outside of the norm, Melissa will freak out. It's her brain instantly goes to, oh my God, what is this? Like I'll be putting something together, right? I'll pick up the screw. She'll be like, Donovan, you ain't get the instructions. I'm like, Melissa, I just want to see what this is. Donovan, the instructions is right there. I'm like, that's fine, Melissa. I just wanted to see what this was.
If you're all about efficiency, why would you not read the instructions first? That's efficient. You read the instructions first. You know, you have an idea and a game plan as to what you're doing, and then you do the thing. Less mistakes. It's efficient.
It is efficient. So can I enjoy myself by looking at this, whatever I have? I'm like, oh, what is this? This is interesting. What is this? Oh, interesting. Okay, this is what this is? Oh. If I don't got nowhere to go, I'm just chilling. Listen, I want to take the scenic route. I want to see what's going on. I'm like, oh, this is how they put this together. This is how they make this. Oh, this is some nice wood. Oh, this is not real wood. I just want to look at stuff. I'm a creator. I like to touch things. I like to feel the things. Okay, and I like to have an idea of what I'm doing before I get the instruction. I'm like, okay, this is what it's supposed to.
How you gonna have an idea of what you're doing before you get the instruction? If the instruction's supposed to tell you what you're supposed to be doing.
Because I can look at it. It's like doing a puzzle. Can you do a puzzle without looking at the cover of the...
But that's the thing. With puzzles, you might get something wrong. You might fuck up with the pieces and stuff like that. Yes. But I'm saying that having the instructions, it stops that from happening. So if you want to be efficient... What's wrong with that
happening, though? Huh? What's wrong with that happening? See, y'all heard it, right? You heard it? Yeah, go ahead. Now go explain. Go explain it. They might have heard it. Go explain.
What's wrong with that happening? I think.
See, she rubbing her eyebrow. That's called anxiety. I can see. I can't see it right now. She's good. She's like, fuck. You want to mess up shit? How the Donovan, you might mess up. Oh my God. What is you? Yeah, I could.
You want to make a mistake?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
See her chest. Y'all can hear it. Exactly. That's what it is. So like I said, I have no problem messing up on things. That's the difference. I'm like, if a mess up is fine. If I put something together wrong, take it apart, do something else. You know what I did? I learned something. That's what I did. I was able to learn something new. But if I only follow the directions, yes, the thing gets done, but I don't learn anything new. I want to be able to learn new stuff. You only learn things by messing up. You don't learn things by getting everything right. You don't learn nothing like that. Sometimes you're doing a puzzle. When I was younger, I used to always do those like 100-piece puzzles, 500-piece puzzles. Some people want to look at the box first. Nah. Me, I just want to try and figure it out myself. Where did this go? And then when I'm like, this is too many pieces. I need to see what the box looks like. Then I go, oh, okay, this is what they want me to do. Got it. I want to see, can I figure it out myself before I look at the box or look at the instructions? That's me personally. But as I said, I don't know if he's like this too. I have to ask her. But Melissa does not like things to be wrong. And she also does not like things to be new. Outside the comfort zone. She doesn't like those things. Now, Neffy is probably similar, but this could be because they're both first children, and that could be a trait of first children who have a perfectionism complex, and they just want things to be right all the time because their parents would beat their ass if they was wrong. But younger kids, we didn't have that problem. We just kind of, they like saying that, but we learn from their mistakes. We learn from our elders' mistakes. So that was the morning I had today. So I just wanted to kind of go over that. That was not, I guess, part of life update, because you guys have heard about how I feel about Melissa and how she be annoying me and how also she be having anxiety and how I feel like sometimes I should say how much I love her, because I do love her very much. And I think I want her to know that. And I just wanted to be more like how she is now, a 23-year-old. Because it's a thing too. Before I continue, who Melissa's been the last 2 weeks, who I know she is, and she, for whatever reason, don't be acting like that. She be acting like somebody else. I don't know who she be acting like, but it ain't the Melissa that I know that is in there. So now that Melissa's out, now we can get busy. We gave Kitty back. So that was borderline traumatizing. I wasn't ready for that. My cat, if you can hear me now, I still kind of sound nasally because the hair is still here. I haven't vacuumed and cleaned up yet. So I'm gonna get on that this week and try and get it clean so I can speak normal again. Cause you can hear it. It's crazy. It's here. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't normally sound like this, guys. I just fucking have the fucking cat that I love so much that I had to give back. And I had to grab her. I threw a towel on her, and it was traumatized because she didn't want to go in the bag. And I thinking about it, I'm getting sad. So I had to lure her out with treats. And then when she was eating, she was all happy. So she just ate food. She was all relaxed. I said, "Hey, Kitty, come over here." And then I gave her some treats. And then I went behind her and threw a towel on her back and grabbed her. And she was not happy. And I put her in a bag and she was meowing. Now, she never meows when we put her in a bag. And she was not with that at all. So I'm just like, damn, we got to give her back. But it's just, I can't breathe and I have to give her back. And how we live in a studio apartment. So we don't have we need a better filter one. And we don't have more room for her to move around. So it's just fur everywhere. Her fur is pretty much in my bedroom. So I can't have that. They took her back to my mom's house, and she seemed very happy at first when she got there. Let her out the bag. She was sniffing everything. Her tail was up. She seemed excited to be back. I guess she remembered the smells. But then my mom told me the next day that she was meowing, and she never meow. Only time I've ever seen her meow, honestly, is when she's about to eat or when she's sad. And there's a video that I had on Instagram one time. We were trying to get her to go to the vet. And we had to trick her, we left the house. So we had left a camera. I was recording the whole thing. And I left a camera in the house. And I actually saw her crying. I heard her crying. I've never heard her cry like that before. We had left the house for 3-4 minutes. And you saw her moving around. And she started crying. And I listened back to it. And I was like, nah, that's crazy. I didn't know she felt like that. So I'm assuming the only time she would cry is either when she's sad or hungry. And she wasn't eating. Not that she wasn't eating, but she wasn't about to get fed. So I don't know why she was meowing. My mom told me she was just meowing. And she actually killed a mouse in my mom's house. So, I guess there's that. She brought the mouse to my mom. So, that's they feel good. And then my mom didn't take the mouse. So I wonder if she felt sad about that too. So I don't know. Yeah. And then she started playing with her own mouse because she has a mouse that we bought. So, like I said, it was pretty sad. I do miss her. I'm going to work very hard to get her back. And then I'm going to try again to see if I could have a bigger apartment. And then also have it so that it's a better filter for her. So that when she is around, it's not as crazy to me. Because like I said, the way I sound right now is crazy. And the biggest issue with this is not even how I sound right now, really. It's two things. When I was sleeping, I would wake up as if somebody poured water on my nose. It was just dripping all down my mouth. I was swallowing it. I wake up, my nose is all crusty. It's on my pillow. And I'd just be like, bro, I can't live like this. I can't live every time I try to wake up. My nose is running. I'm at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm waking up with just pretty much saliva coming out my nose. My mouth is open because I'm sleeping with my mouth open. My mouth is all dry. I'm trying to drink water. It's not working. My nose is now stopped up. I can't breathe. It was just ridiculous. But when I get up, it wasn't that bad. So the other thing that really bothered me is that when I leave the house, it was still an issue. So my nose would be clogged outside hours after I left the house. And I felt like, okay, I'm not even around her anymore. I don't feel like this should be happening. So I'm like, if I can't even go somewhere else without having to deal with that, this is not going to work. Cause I'm like, now it's controlling my whole life and I don't like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to give her back and try and regroup later, figure something out. So update on my bike, because if you guys know me, you guys know that I have a bicycle that hates me. And I had planned, like I told you guys last week, I was going to work half time. I was going to work part-time on my bike, right? If you guys remember that, you know that was the plan. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and check out the last 4 episodes to understand what the fuck I'm talking about, because this shit has been ridiculous. So last week, I started off good week. Everything is going great. I'm like, all right. I got up. I was ready to go to work. I was gonna start working like 4 hours in the morning, make $100. I went out one day. I made $100. Made like $120 in the first 4 hours. Only worked 4 hours that day, and I made $120. I'm like, all right, bet I could do this every day. Come out, work 4 hours in the morning, 8 to 12, 8 to 1, or whatever, and then I could just come back home and sleep the whole day. Well, not sleep, but work the whole day when I come home. So, so what happened next? All right, so that was the first day. So the second day, I'm like, I'm kind of dredging it to get outside, or drudging. Is drudging? I'm either way. I'm trying to I'm procrastinating to go to work, but I'm still going out early. But I'm still like, I don't really go, but it needs to be done, so I feel good about actually getting things done. So I go downstairs. I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, bet. Get my bike, get an elevator, go outside, turn the key. What happened? Turn the key, and I get on the bike. I pull the throttle. It doesn't work. The bike is not working again. And I'm like, the last time I talked about the bike, I had a flat tire. That was the last thing I talked about on the bike. It was me getting a flat, and I fixed the flat. And I was like, all right, bet. I can get back to work now. I went outside like 3 or 4 days ago, and the shit was not coming on. No, not it wasn't coming. The motor wasn't turning. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm fed up by this. I'm fed up because at this point it's been almost 3 months of off and on trying to get the bike to work. I spent thousands of dollars in the last 2 or 3 months just on the bike alone, whether it be buying multiple controllers, whether it be buying tires, whether it be I paid my friend to fix the motor for me. The money that I lost by not going to work. It's been thousands of dollars just in the last 2 or 3 months that I have missed out on just because of the bike. And I'm like, I can't, this is ridiculous. And then I have to wait for a part to come in from China. I'm like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm over this. And I was outside probably for like an hour trying to fix the bike and figure out what's wrong with it. I had it on the street, I had it in the sidewalk. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? I'm opening the bike up, trying to figure it out. So I come back inside, I try and test the bike out, and I figured out that the hall sensors in the motor are not working. Or let me not say that. I'm getting an error on the hall sensors. I don't know what is wrong with it, but there's something wrong with either the wires or the actual hall sensors in the motor. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm over this shit. I'm like, because it'll be another $400 to buy a new controller if that's the problem, which I thought it was at first. And then the other option is pay somebody to fix it, buy a new bike. And I'm like, bruh, for what? So I can go back out and ride again and wait 2 more weeks and have to think about this every day. I'm like, I'm over this shit. And I've been saying, it's funny too, because I had planned that I would not be doing biking by the end of this year. And somehow, some way, God was like, all right, well, I heard you in January. So he rubbed his fingers together and now I'm not doing biking no more. So I have decided to, for the next 3 months, I will no longer be a bike messenger. So to the end of this year, I'm not biking. Now, how am I going to pay my bills? So this is where my amazing sister, who has, my, what do you call it? Angels that look out for you? What are they called? Guardian angel. My guardian angel of a sister was like, okay, no, she definitely helped me, right? So I'm going to tell you how that ended up happening. So, I'm like, I'm gonna do this wholesaling thing because the return on wholesaling is enough for me to at least not have to go and be a bike messenger. Because if I can make $6,000 between now and the end of the year, which can either be 1 contract or 2 contracts, then I'm like, I don't need to be a bike messenger. I can just figure this out and be better at it, become more proficient at wholesaling, so that I don't have to be working like I was doing before. And the return is so much higher. So for the amount of work that I would have to do, I don't have to be outside every day. So for me to make $6,000 at bike messaging, I have to be outside. Especially now, I would have had to been outside probably 7 days a week. That would have been 15, 15, 3, 15, 15. 4. I would have to been outside every day for the whole month to probably make like, I would say out of 30 days, I probably have to be outside 25 days, probably 24 days. For about 8 to 9 hours a day to make $6,000 now. That'd have been about $200 a day. And I'm like, just to make that money, I gotta do all that work. And not only am I doing that work, I'm outside, it's raining, it's cold now. And on top of that, there's no guarantee that my bike won't break down. There's no guarantee that it's not gonna rain every day because I don't work in the rain. There's no guarantee it's not gonna be a snowstorm. There's no guarantee that they won't change how much they pay me. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense for me to keep, I guess, struggling along to make this money. It was easier before when they were paying more, but it's not worth it anymore. So I'm like, I got to move on to the next thing. And I'm like, okay, I just need a runway from now until the end of the week the end of the year to be able to cover my bills, and then I guess just focus on the wholesaling thing and any other mostly wholesale, 99% wholesaling, and then side ventures in the off term. So I did the math and I was like, okay, I would need about $5,200 to $5,500 to actually be able to do that, to be able to just cover my bills from now to the end of the year. And that was my goal. And I'm like, all right, if I could just get that, I'll be good. So I went online for signature loans, which are loans that you can just pretty much, they're unsecured personal loans that you kind of more or less just sign off on, and they give you $5,000, $10,000. And normally from a bank, you can get these from. And that was my initial plan, because I'm like, all I need is that. And if I can get less, if I can get like 3, I can figure something else out too. But $5,200 lasts me for sure until the end of the year. So I called some people, and it was a Sunday, so most of the banks were closed when I did that. And I'm like, all right, but one person called me back, and they were like, all right, we can do that for you. They would say, well, I told them that I would take $9,500. I'm like, can you guys offer $9,500? And they were like, we could, but we want to give you more if you meet the qualifications, which was like a 690, it was a 700 credit score, something like that, something in that area. And my credit score is a 690 to a 700, something like that. I think it's 694. And they would say that they wanted me to also have a funding source, which I thought was a weird way of putting it, but an income of $50,000 from last year. Last year, I think I only made like 48, or I think I made 48. You know what's crazy? I definitely made over 50 last year. When we were talking, when we moved in here, you made 33, and I made 48 or something like that, right? So I made over 50 last year. Either way, I made 51, I think, last year. And oh my eye. So but I told him 48, but he said that they wanted a 50. So I was like, all right, listen, I can get my sister to co-sign for me, and she makes some money, so that would put me over the $50,000 mark, and she has a good credit score. So he's like, oh yeah, that'd be great, that'd be amazing if she could co-sign. But can we, if you get approved, can we give you more than the 95? Because we normally approve for higher. He's like, would you take more than that? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take more than that. He's like, I bet. I'm gonna send you the email. You just fill out the questionnaire, and you'll be good. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I wanted to call my sister first to tell her, like, okay, this is how much I would need to the end of the year to tell her my plan. But she didn't answer me back. So in that time, I was actually talking to the loan people, right? And after I got off the phone with them, she called me. And she was like, hey, what's going on? So I had told her like, what my plan was. I need $5,200. I'm like, these loan people, I'm like, would you co-sign on a loan with me to get $10,000, and I can just pay it off, by the end of the year? And I have different ways of paying it off, because I have the money coming in from my dad, which is $4,000. I have the money in my account, which is the stock account, which is like, I don't know, like 7 maybe now, something like that. And then I would, worst case scenario, which is the bottom pit of everything, if it would be I get back on a bike. I have to buy all the parts new for a bike and just work, and I can still make the money back to pay her. But that's like plan whatever comes after Z. Whatever comes after Z, so ZR or Z3, whatever comes after Z, that's where that would be at. So she was like, what? No, we're not doing that. We're not taking money from outside people. We're not taking no loans. I don't know these people. We don't know them. We're not doing that. She said, I'll give you the money. I was like, really? She's like, yeah, I'll give you the money. I'm like, all right. She's like, how much do you need right now? And I was like, 1,000 right now. I could survive for a couple of weeks, probably, maybe 2-3 weeks, maybe. And they said, okay, we can talk about the rest of it later. She sent me the 1,000 like right there, like on the spot. Like I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is crazy. And the reason I asked for it that day was because I definitely had to pay my credit card bill, which was $170. I had to pay my phone bill, which is $150. I had to pay for groceries, which is another $150. We were gonna go upstate to see one of Melissa's friends, and we're gonna drive up there. We're gonna take I was gonna rent a car to go up there, right? And that was gonna be, originally the price was like $130, $140 if we drove. And if we took the bus or a plane, when we first saw it last week, it was like $200 to get there. But then the day of or the day before, it was $400 to get there by, no, it was $1,000 to get there by plane. And then it was almost $300 to $400 to get there by a bus. And the trip to where we were going is 8 hours. It's like an 8 hour. Is that no? It's a 5 to 7 hour trip. And we had the podcast today, so we would have went there yesterday. And the thing that she was having a housewarming because she got a new apartment. Shout out to her. And she was having it at 7, I think, and it was from 7 to 12 or 9 to 12. 7 to 11, right? So it would have taken us 5 to 7 hours to get there. So we would have left here at 12, let's say. We would have got there by 5 or 7, and we would have had to leave when it was over. Let's say it probably would have ran a little bit later, probably like 12, 1, we would have left. So we would have we would have been back home at 6, 7. I would have been driving for all that time. I wouldn't have had any time to rest. We would have drove up there. We would have been with them. I wouldn't have been taking a nap in her house. Then we would have had to do whatever they were doing for the event, then get back in the car and drive back home and be back here by 6 or 7 to then do the podcast by 10 or 11. And I'm like, it just wasn't going to happen. Plus all of the driving and driving that night. I was like, you know what? It's not worth going up there to do. So, and we ended up not going to do that. So I was like, that's what I'm going to spend the money on to go up there to do that too. So all those things plus, going up to this event, and it just turned out not to be worth it for the money reason and then the timing of it. So we decided not to do that. I also wanted to touch on we went driving for dollars. If you are not familiar with what that is, it is a term used in wholesaling. Okay. Somebody says that. So who somebody goes, okay, who is that? I think it's South Park or Simpsons. They go, okay. I think that's South Park. Either way. So yeah, we went driving for dollars, right? That's a term in wholesaling, which is when you go and you drive for houses that look abused, vacant, nobody's living there, and you try and get in contact with the person that owns it so that you can then wholesale it. If you're not sure what wholesaling is, it is when you get a house under contract and you get the rights to sell the house, and you find somebody who wants to buy the house, and then they pay more or less a finder's fee for that price or whatever, so they pay a finder's fee for that house or that transaction. So we went to do that in New Jersey. Now, Melissa felt like it was a waste of time we went. The reason that she felt like that was, what exactly was the reason?
Because what I envisioned for driving for dollars was us choosing a place, a town or something like that, and then just driving around and looking for houses there to add to the roster of what we already had. But what I felt like what we did was we went to the houses that were already on the roster to kind of check them out in person, which is still cool, but it's not what I imagined driving for dollars to be.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I enjoyed it because I felt like, what time are we at right now, too, by the way? 40 minutes in?
Yeah, 44.
That's a lot. All right, I mean, I guess that's not bad. Yeah, so, yeah. So I said I enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is cool. I like this. And I got information I felt like was helpful for me. I kind of got to see how he looks at properties when he buys them. Because he's an investor, one of the guys I talked about before that helped me with real estate. So I was just like, okay, this is cool. I got some numbers. I saw how he ran numbers. I saw how he looked at numbers for renting out properties and things like that. So it was just a fun experience for me. One thing I also learned when we were with him, it's just kind of crazy. I've never heard this, but he went to Africa before, right? And he was saying that in Africa, the men hold hands and it's normal. And I think that's so crazy because just recently I had saw a video, but it was Twitter, so it could have been 3 people, but they were saying it's a parade or a march or whatever. But there was one guy who was saying that, these people are being mean to me because I'm gay and he's in Africa. He's openly gay in Africa. And I think that that's so interesting to me that they would persecute you or prosecute you for being gay in Africa, but it's okay to hold hands with a guy walking down the street, because I personally don't know any reason that I would be walking down the street holding a guy's hand. Like, I can't think of any reason. And I wouldn't even I would have held my mom's hand walking down the street. I would have held my sister's hand walking down the street. So I just think it's very odd that there's 2 men walking down the street holding their hands. It's just something that I never thought about, especially in a place that they consider to be very gay or very, very anti-homosexual. So I just thought that was kind of crazy. And I get, yeah, we've been eating food better. I want to touch on that. So we definitely, my goal is to try and eat as many electric alkaline meals that we have. The Bamboo Project _ food. You can go see that on Instagram. And I think that it's getting better. I think yesterday we had all electric food. Well, I did. I don't know, Melissa. What you? She had ice cream. But yeah, my goal is to try and just be as healthy as possible because I gained a little bit of weight. My stomach looked kind of crazy. And I got a pimple right in the middle of my head. I got my little unicorn pimple, which is kind of strange because I got it right after I ate the alkaline food. So I'm wondering if that's because I was purging the food that I already ate. So there's that. And I wonder that's why I have more energy. No, definitely not. Cause I be eating mad pizza. It got to a point where when I went to my mom's house the last week, I probably had Papa John's, like, yeah. It's been so many times. It's probably like over 20, not 20, probably like 15 times. 15 to it's close to 20 times Papa John's. Cause this is how bad it got. My mom and I and my sister had got Papa John's on Saturday night, and then Sunday for breakfast for breakfast, Melissa bought Papa John's. And that's all I had. I had Papa John's that night, the day before, and for breakfast again, I had Papa John's the next day. It was just crazy. Mind you, I probably had Papa John's once that week or twice that week already. So it's just Papa John's every day. It was just so much Papa John's. It got to a point I've never seen before, where the guy had forgot something for us, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, don't worry. I order all the time. You order all the time. We'll put it in your next order." And I was just like, and that's a problem. Like, I've never had the Papa John's guy be like, "Don't worry, guy. We know who you are." Like, and I had a feeling they knew who we were too, based off of the fact that we didn't tip and they knew it. They were like, "Are you gonna tip us?" And he was like, "Nah." And they was like, "Oh, okay." So I feel like they definitely remember us, which is bad. So I'm trying to stay off of that. The last thing I want to talk about is my neighbor situation that happened the other day. It was in the morning, or was that night? Yeah. So sometime in the morning, like maybe like 11 o'clock in the morning, I get a ring, or my doorbell rings, right? He rang the doorbell? He did. And I'm like, all right, I don't know who it is. We thinking, oh shit, you about to get evicted. Like, the time is here. It's over. We getting evicted. They're coming for us. So I go to open the door, and it's my neighbor. Now, if y'all have heard, there's stories about him before. Like I said, y'all have to go back and look at the other podcasts to see the stories about him. He ringing on my doorbell. I'm like, what's up? He's like, hey man, I'm kind of scared. Can you help me? I'm like, what's going on? He's like, I'm really scared. I'm like, what happened? He's like, yeah, there's a man in my apartment. I feel like I call him a strange man. He said there's a man in my apartment and he won't leave. I'm like, what? Like, I'm looking at him like, okay. I'm like, sure. So I go across the hall. He opens the door and he's like, hey man, I need you to leave my apartment right now. I need you to leave my apartment right now. Like, right. I need you to leave my apartment right now. Now, the guy's in the back. Now, I don't know what this guy look like. He could be LeBron James. He could be Dwight Howard. He could be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I don't know who this guy is in the back of the apartment, right? So I'm like, all right, we go see what's happening. Mind you, I'm in my get my ass beat clothes. Like, I'm not wearing clothes to fight. I have on slippers. I have on an oversized sweater, and I have on high water pajama pants. Like, I'm not somebody that you would think would be like, oh yeah, he gonna beat me up. No, I'm the guy that gets beat up wearing that. That's the kind of outfit I have on. So I'm like, all right, perception wise, this could be a bad thing, but I'm like, all right, we gonna see where this goes. She's about to die already. That's crazy. So I'm like, I bet. He calls the guy out. I'm like, all right, let's see who comes out the back. The guy comes out. And he looks at me. I'm like, I bet. I saw it in his eyes. Like I said, micro expressions. I saw. He was terrified of me. So I'm like, I bet. I already know if it comes down to a fight, he already don't want to fight. The guy came out in the front. I'm like, all right, what's he going to look like? He walks out. I'm like, okay. He looks like if y'all don't know what a skinhead is, that's what he looked like, honestly. He's probably like 5'6", maybe. Bald head. He's wearing a black tank top with oversized jeans, and he looked like a type of dude that would wear black Air Force Ones. That's the kind of guy he looked like. When I saw him, I'm like, ah, shit. He looked like one of those like Midwestern type dudes that like just do crazy shit in their house. Like, that's what he looked like. Like, not in their house, like on the side of the road and shit. That's what I got the vibes from him. And I'm like, oh, this, but like, I'm like, I could take him in a fight. In a fight, I'm like, I got him. But I don't know. In a fight, sure. 1-on-1, I'm pretty sure I could take this guy. The only thing that I'm thinking about, looking at this person, I'm like, oh, he might stab me. Like, he could definitely stab me in my face or shoot me. Like, I don't know what he has. Like, he's that kind of crazy looking dude. I'm like, ah, shit. But like I said earlier, I noticed that when he looked at me, he was already scared. So I'm like, I bet I have the upper hand. I'm like, if shit gets kind of crazy, I already know that he does not want to fight. We cool. So now that I've noticed this, he looked at me. He's like, oh shit, you really, man? That's what you gonna do? That's what you gonna do? I guess he was talking to the guy about having me come over to help him. He's like, fine. He's like, man, give me back my phone. So the guy goes back into the room, gets the phone. He's in there for like 4 minutes. I'm like, he gonna come out with a fucking bazooka or some shit. Like, he gonna come out and spray up this whole place. I'm about to get killed. I'm like, ah, shit. I'm like I said, he looked like a crazy. I'm thinking he gonna come out with like a machete, because people like that are like, oh, really? You gonna get somebody that's bigger than me? All right, let me get something for you. And they come back with a big ass knife. And that dude would come back with a knife, bro, I would have closed the door. Like, I would have definitely been like, oh, shit, bro, you by yourself. I'm not fighting no man with a knife. Like, a machete? I'm not fighting him. Bro, I don't even know you like that. I don't even know. I honestly don't know your name. So, I don't even know your name. And I'm not about to fight a machete dude, a machete skinhead over you. What do I get from this? Nothing. I'm not, no. And funny enough, I went to his apartment, which I've never been in or really seen before. All he had was one of those foldable black tables that you see at like picnics and barbecues. So I'm like, he must be a drug dealer. And like I said, the last story that I told about him, I say he's a drug dealer. That was my thought. I was probably right. But I also thought when he first told me, I honestly thought it was his boyfriend. I'm like, oh, his boyfriend's in the house. His boyfriend won't leave. I could just talk to him about your family. Listen, do you really want to be here? The man don't want you here. Just leave. That's what I thought it was going to be. Turned out probably. I mean, they could have been fucking. It could have been a stripper. Listen, it could have been a guy who was fucking. A lot of shit could have been happening that day. I just know that I didn't want to get stabbed with a machete. So the guy came back out, threw his phone to him. So I'm like, all right, bet. Now he walked. Now this is the last part. I'm like, okay, I just need to survive this exit. So I'm standing by the door. I'm like, all right, man, come on, let's go. So I'm holding the door. I'm like, fam, I gotta check his hands, because if he walked by this door, he got a knife on him. He's gonna stab me in my stomach, and I don't really. I'm not like. It's not enough space for me to react, because when you open the door, there's a couch there's a couch perpendicular to the door. So I'm standing in that gap. So there's not really much space for me to kind of like block his arm. I'm like, okay, but if he has a knife, I need to see where his hands are at, and if he reach for anything, because I'm not going to get stabbed holding this door for this guy that could be fucking this man. I don't know who this is. So he left, and I'm like, I bet. And the neighbor was like, all right, man, thank you. But he stood in the hallway to watch the guy. Like, he was terrified of this man. And I'm like, what? Why is he in your house? What's the guy doing in your house? There's no reason he should be in your house. But if I had to guess, this is what I'm guessing. My theory is this. 2 things. It was a sex deal gone wrong. It was one of those like gay Tinder app shit that the guy wanted to fuck and he wouldn't fuck, or something like that. Right? That's number 1. Or number 2, this guy is into drugs and he's selling drugs. The guy lives across the hall from me. Now, I think that he's probably wow, where's where the weed is coming from, this smell? That'd be crazy. I was thinking more so, because the people next door, I feel like they didn't look like they would do that, right? I don't know if you remember how they looked. I feel like they look kind of young. I mean, like more mature. Either way, so the guy across the hall was fucking a dude, a stripper, or a prostitute man, or a gigolo, some shit like that. It didn't go well. Or option number 2, which is he is selling drugs, and the guy wanted money for drugs that my neighbor, did not have. But the only reason I'm not really sold on that is because I don't think the guy who came over was really a gangster. Like, I don't feel he was like really about that life. But again, if you look at the hierarchy, my neighbor's already afraid of him. So I guess he's scary enough for people, if that's, you're scared of him. So that's that. But that was my last week. And fuck, it was one more thing I wanted to say too. It was about the text. So one of the cousins from the Bamboo Project family, I was speaking to recently, they have a guy who is having problems. They're having problems with, and this man said, "Bro, this is about to be too long." Oh fuck, shit is funny though. Okay, I don't care. Yeah, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is hilarious too. Okay, so this is what happened.
I feel like this.
What?
It might be a whole podcast.
Yeah. So I'm like, if it's gonna be long, it's just whatever. Like I said, we have timestamps for you guys. So okay, here we go. Boom. You ready? So like I said, one of the cousins of the Bamboo Project family. We're all a family here. We're all related. We're all cousins. She's talking to a guy right? Now this guy is how would you describe him? Immature, childish. I feel like she said he's not that. He's not that, but that is not the vibe that I get from him. So pretty much he doesn't have his life together. He's trying to figure it out right now. He's 27 or older. He might be older than that. Maybe 28. And he is trying to figure out his life. Now that's nothing wrong with that. You want to figure your life out, right? Now, what was that? Why are you giggling?
No, that was a call.
I sound like a giggle.
No,
I heard it. I heard it.
it was a call.
Looks over here giggling at men trying to get their life together. This is the problem with women today. So he What was I? Okay, so he trying to get his life together, right? Now my Bamboo Project cousin is like, all right, bet. What you want to do? He decides, okay, I want to go and go to the military, right? Now, for me, I understand why this is a bad idea because he feels like going to the military will fix his problems. Now, one thing I want people to understand is this. You have to be able to spot this because it is very important. People will tell you what you want to hear, right? And they will just say things because they feel like it makes them sound like they're making the right decision. And then you can tell by their personality and their actions if they're really behind what they're saying they want to do, right? So he is overweight and he said he wants to go to the military, right? Now, according to her, when she asked him, hey, what you eat today? It's Chinese food. It's not really anything healthy. When she asked, what you got planned for today? He's not really doing anything to better his future, right? But he feels like if I go to the military, it's like pressing a button and I'll be fine. However, what he doesn't know, or failed to mention, is that you have to have a boot camp. You have to be at a certain physical level to be able to attend the boot camp for the military, right? And his actions are showing that he does not want to do that work to get into the military. He's just trying to figure out what can I say or what can I. And honestly, I think he thinks that he will do it, but I know that he won't because I've seen this happen very, very, very often. Where people would just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and it's gonna work." And I'll be like, "All right, well, sure, whatever." That's not really how that goes. So he wants to go to the military, and I'm like, yeah, I think he's lying. Like, he sounds like he's bullshitting. Like, he sounds like he's just saying that, but when the time comes, he's not really gonna go because she's trying to figure out if they should date or not. And I'm like, you should definitely tell him straight up, look, I want to be your girlfriend. And then depending on what he says to you, you have your answer. But girls really like to not, like, listen, girls need to just say it. I want to be your girlfriend. If a guy says no, then he does not want to date you. It's as simple as that. There's no other options. There's nothing else around it. He does not want to date you. It's literally that. Whatever the reason is, it's usually some bullshit reason to tie to I don't have money or some shit like that. But that's normally the reason. His case is the same thing. He feels like he doesn't have any money. He feels like his life is not together. And she is doing very well for herself. And he feels like, well, I can't match up to you. And you have your life together and I don't have my life together. And I want to be like you. I want to be great like you. This is a very bad mentality to have. He feels like having money and having, I guess, a stable job would make him good enough to be with her, which is stupid. So she went over to his house and she drove all the way to his house. She drove like 2-3 hours to get to his house, right? So when she got there, she said to his face, hey, they had planned to hang out before this, but then when she had got there, she brought it up to him and she goes, okay, so I want to be your girlfriend. However she said it, that's what she said. And he said to her, this is his response. I want solitude. This is what he said. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read the messages. That's what I'm going to do. So I want to make sure that I got this story correct. But that's what this man said. He said, I want solitude. Now, I'm going to tell you why that's crazy. You know what? I'm not going to tell you because you're going to see why that is ridiculous. Where is this shit at? A side note. There's no way you should be a grown man with no driver's license. I don't care. If you, honestly, you should not, what age do you have a driver's license by? I feel like 18. I feel like by 18, you should have a driver's license as a male. As a grown-ass male at 18, you should have a driver's license. The latest, 19. After that, you are failing. That should be priority. Get a driver's license. You need to have a driver's license. There's no reason you should be 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 without a driver's license. It's a part of being an adult. What happens if somebody needs you to drive a car? You can't drive the car. You don't have a license. Like, how do you not have a license at this age? Like, you are too old to not have a license. That's just something in my chest that I feel, because I've seen too many times that grown-ass men don't have IDs. They don't have licenses. And I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? Y'all are adults. You are adults. And then girls be talking to people like this. He don't have a license and he don't have a state ID. What do you think kind of person this is? You can't think this is a responsible adult and he thinks he don't have these things. This is but my chest. I'm gonna come back to that. So she said, have an update. Laughed my ass off. I said, I know about to do some bullshit. She said, so we revisited the conversation last night because he had said he didn't like that. Oh, wait, my bad. Oops. Okay, hold on. I'm going to come back to that. That's not what happened. Okay, so here we go. I told her I had this conversation with him because girls need to confront these problems very early. Confront these conversations immediately so that you don't have to deal with 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years of bullshit. And I'm hearing this from multiple females. Multiple women are saying that they are dealing with men for long periods of time, waiting for the man to get their life together. And they keep falling down the same trap. It's like, I'm just one day. I promise I'm just one day. And it's like, yo, listen. I understand having ambition. I understand that. I understand that some people are at a certain point in their life and they're not where they want to be. But you need to see, are they working towards that? That is the most important thing. If you could look at them and say, well, I don't really know. I don't think so. If you have to ask yourself, is your significant other working towards their goals? Then they're not. They're not. There's no question. If you go, hey, let me think of a person's name. Erica. I'm going to ask, hey, Erica, is your boyfriend working towards his goals? She's like, no. The answer is no. The answer is clearly no. He's not. If you have to think about it, it's not, because you would be able to see it every day. You would know the steps that he's taking to get to where he needs to be and where he feels comfortable in his life to talk to you or to marry you or to be your boyfriend or whatever the case might be. If you don't know, let him go. Bars. Okay, so she goes, LOL. The way this convo is going, yikes. He said he likes his solitude, so there's my answer to that. I'm gonna laugh my ass off. What? She said, right. I was like, that makes no sense because we act like we're in a relationship as it is. So how do you not have solitude? He's like, I do, but ... So bloop, laugh my ass off. And I'm at his house because it's a in-person convo, but now she's like, damn, she got the crazy face. She said, I gotta sleep here. I'm like, damn, you fucked up. I said, I'm not gonna hold you. I still don't understand what he said. Like, why did he bring up solitude? Like, I don't understand what that means. She goes, I brought up the relationship thing. And I was like, I'm not going to be okay with this. How is it for much longer? And I realized that after yesterday. What? She said, and I was like, I'm not going to be okay with this. How it is for much longer. And I realized that after yesterday. And I said to her, what was his response? Like, what? And his response was solitude? Like, how did he come up with the word solitude? He said, I like having you around, but I also like my solitude. So I busted out laughing. So I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I'm like, what are you saying? Because last time I checked, the word solitude means to have nobody around you. That's solitude, to be by yourself. And I wasn't sure, so I had to go look it up. I said, y'all don't live together. Like, what do you mean solitude? It's not like she's there every day, but she's not around you every single day. She said, that's what he said. I was like, how? She said, I was like, how am I impacting your solitude if we put a label on it? Like, how does that change anything? And girls be ignoring these signs. Girls be looking at these signs like, nah, I'm going to ignore that shit. And then wonder why they run a red light and get hit by a car. Because stupid shit, like, there are signs that tell you, hey, there's an accident. This guy's a car wreck. Don't go over there. Don't do that. Now, I'm curious, Melissa. I'm going to come back to this. To remind me to say why. I'm not yet. I'm going to read the messages, and then I'm going to come back to you. Okay? Remember what I said about car wrecks and red flags. Remember that word, red flags. So I said, nah, none of this makes sense. What solitude? Is he saying if y'all date, he wouldn't have solitude? She said his words. I said, maybe I don't know what solitude is. Hold on. So I went and screenshot to look it up. Solitude means the state or situation of being alone, right? So he wants to be alone. I said, you should get in your car and go home and give him his solitude. She said, I'm about to bounce, to be honest, because this ain't it. I said, yeah, he's wild. She said, yeah, I want to go home so bad. I said, why don't you? She said, I'm far away. I drove 2 hours. I said, I meant like to your mom's house. She said, I was all the way in another state. She said, I'm going to take a power nap and leave. And then she said he started crying when she told him that he wants to leave. She said to him, I want to be in a relationship. He said, I want solitude. She said, fine, I'll give you that. I'm going to leave. And he started to cry. Now, this is the problem I be having with people. When y'all see these, you guys see the signs. Y'all feel it. Women feel it. Y'all know it. Y'all see it. And y'all continue to run these fucking red lights. Y'all continue to run through the signs. And y'all end up with a person y'all are miserable with. It happens all the time. Like, I'm curious, how many times does a girl end up with a guy that has red flags that she end up liking? I feel like the majority of the time what I think happens are either they are things they don't like, they aren't red flags, or the red flag that people see are the red flags by other people. They're like, oh my God, he did what? Oh, he did this? Oh, what did he do? Oh my God. I think that's when you people might possibly still end up being happy, when other people are pulling up red flags that they feel shouldn't happen. So she said, and now here's the thing. I felt like, because I know women, I felt like she wasn't going to leave the house. I'm like, she's not going to leave. It's 2 a.m. He still has the opportunity to fix what he did. He might fuck. I don't know. It's possible that could solve the problem. Depending on how good the dick is, that could solve a lot of problems. It can make a girl forget things. So she said he's not sobbing, but he was crying. She said that he's crying because that she wants to leave and she's not happy. I said, what happens now? She goes, I don't know. I'm leaving. He has some stuff to think about. He needs to think about what he wants. So the next day, I'm like, hey, what's the update on that? The update is, she said, I'm going to fall back and give him his solitude since he enjoys that so much. He said he doesn't want solitude. And that's not what he meant when he said that. He said he misspoke, all because I didn't text him today. So this is what happened. This is what I'm telling you. Y'all need to understand that a lot of these guys you're talking to are very soft. And I'm talking about, y'all think that they're not soft. A lot of guys, not in his case, a lot of guys be yelling and screaming and shit. And I don't make a guy masculine because he be screaming and yelling. Honestly, the guys that don't be screaming and yelling are the ones that are not, those are the ones that you should be like, oh shit, he's really serious. It's those ones. The ones that be screaming and yelling, the ones that be crying. It's like, control yourself. Get a hold of yourself. So that was that. So she ended up saying that he doesn't want solitude. This is what he said to her. And that's not what he meant when he said that. He actually meant that. Oh, so here's the last paragraph. Okay. So we revisited the conversation last night because he said he didn't like that. He said what he meant to say was that he does want to build something with me, but he feels that the uncertainty in his life is what's preventing him, and he feels bad about the position he put me in. So I told him he needs to rethink his intentions because I'm not. Wait, hold on. Where is this? So I told him he needs to rethink his intentions because him saying that does not make sense considering we act like we're already in a relationship, and I don't see the difference. So I gave him until the end of November to think about it because we need to know if we need to cancel the trip, which is in December. And he said that he didn't mean solitude in that way. And he just feels like he's having a quarter life crisis and blah, blah. This is what I'm saying. This is some bullshit. Now, here's the funny thing, right? People are probably hearing this. Girls probably listen to like, oh my God, he's bullshitting. What he's talking about. And then you sit next to your man right now. He's doing the same shit. You next to your man right now. He in the bed. He in the couch with you. The man is sitting there in the car and you looking at him. He's doing the same shit. But here you are hearing a podcast talking about something. Nah, she's bugging. No, you're bugging. Leave this dude that's bullshitting you too. Leave him. Fuck. I'm tired of ancient men getting women and then women mad at the men ain't shit. Jesus, my chest. Okay. So that was the end of that. Thank you. Red flags. What red flags did you see about me, Melissa?
About you.
Yes. What are the red flags that you saw about me?
Felt like you weren't empathetic. That was a red flag for me. It's like close enough.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I felt like you were not empathetic. I felt like you. Was that a red flag? Yeah.
Whatever your red flags were.
Yeah, that was a red flag to me. Because I'm like, how do you not understand what other people are going through? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like you were not emotional. Mm-hmm. But it's weird because the things that I thought were red flags turned out to be different than what I thought they were. But there was that.
What do you mean by that? Your cousins want to know.
Huh?
Your cousins want to know what you meant by that.
Oh, Because I thought because you were not responding to either me crying or me or responding to other people's emotions. You're very logical and stoic. That meant that you didn't care. But that's not, but it's not that you don't care. It's more so like you respond to things based off of what is happening, not based off of the other person's emotions. So, but that is not the norm. So that's not something I was used to. What's another red flag? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
This is a red flag. This is one. What is this?
Okay, so I want you to come hold this behind me real quick. Oh my god. I want to test something. Because I think that it's making the wall behind me white. It's making me darker than the wall. I'm like, if I make the behind me dark, what would it look like? Okay. Okay. All right. So now you can put it down. Over there. I don't mean over there. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Okay. So those were your red flags. So on to, we covered most of it.
That's it?
Yeah.
You wanna know?
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I was just curious what your red flags were. I feel like people told her. What do you think other people told you the red flags were?
Other people?
Yeah. What other people?
Oh, wow.
Hold on, let me ask the question first.
You're controlling
What were
me.
other people's red flags, Melissa?
About you
Burnett,
for me.
About me. That they saw about me.
That you were controlling.
Mm-hmm.
That you're doing too much. That it was definitely controlling, doing too much. They thought that I was acting different when I was with you. I think that's pretty much it for the most part. That.
So what I was gonna say is that.
and-
What? You got another one?
You're like, what is it's triggering, I guess, for some people, I guess.
Oh, bruh, I remember that shit. I'll trigger somebody else. I'm not even talking to them. But what I remember was people felt like we moved very fast. That was a red flag. I remember that people said we moved very fast.
It's funny that's not a red flag to me in my head.
Right. That
It's
was
like just how everything turned out. So
yeah. So I'm gonna go through episode playback of what I saw from last week that I kind of want to touch on. It's gonna be quick. So the podcast ended faster than expected last week which is funny because it was an hour and a half, but because we were trying to fix the audio levels. So that was that. When Melissa doesn't eat good food, she be having diarrhea and she be throwing up when she's not eating electric food. This is what happens. Her body be going through it. She has crazy cramps. She has diarrhea. She has vomiting, and there's a lot of bad shit that happens when she's not eating the alkaline food. On her period, when she's eating unhealthy food. Okay, so one thing, it was a request from people request from a Bamboo Project family member, was for me to kind of expound a little bit on girls' boundaries and why they shouldn't have them and why it causes girls to get hurt. Now, the reason I say that I think girls shouldn't have boundaries is because they're usually very superficial, if not always superficial. If you're thinking about ways to stop yourself from having sex with somebody else, then all you're doing is pretty much laying out a map of somebody to fuck, right? If you're saying, well, the only time I fuck a guy is if he takes me out to eat twice or he, treats me nice. It shouldn't be any of those things. It should just be, do you want to have sex with him? That's literally it. That's the only thing. It's, do I want to? And if you do want to, then you should. And if you don't want to, then you shouldn't. That's it. Those are the only two things. Now, I think when girls use that, I think in the beginning they'll have sex a little bit more often, but then they'll be like, you know what? I don't really want to. Like, yeah, I thought you were cute when I was younger, and I wanted to have sex, but now that I'm older, it's like, or that I'm more experienced, I'm like, I don't really want to have sex with you just because I think you're cute, or just because you said some sweet words to me. Like, I actually want to feel good when I'm with you. I want to actually feel like I want to. And I want to have sex with you. And right now, what you're doing is not making me want to have sex with you. And I feel like, because it felt like for me when I was running a game, there's pretty much a more or less a standard rule book for girls when you want to have sex with them. One of the main things is don't make them feel like a hoe. So if they're about to have sex on the first night, you got to make sure that you make them feel comfortable about it. Don't make it seem like you do this all the time, and don't make them feel bad. You want to act like they're not that important to you. You want to make sure that they feel like that you want the girl to make sure that she feels like you have other things than her. You also want to make sure that other girls find you attractive. These are the things that make a girl attracted to you. And those are the things that I feel like girls should be aware of as to why they like a guy or why they want to have sex with a guy. Because like I said, it's only going to hurt you. And one of the topics of today is what makes a girl a hoe. And we'll come back to that because I think that is one of the big indicators for what makes somebody a hoe. Was there a particular question that you remember, or not a topic, but it's a particular situation about this that I was going to bring up with the boundaries for girls?
Boundaries for girls?
Yeah, was there a question that you had? Huh? Okay. The girl from last week's in a relationship with a guy. Oh, right, the girl who was getting choked out from last week's podcast. She is now dating that guy. They're in a relationship together. So I want to put that in there too. They are now exclusively dating.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said? Did she post that she has a man now? She's off the market and shit.
I don't know if that's him.
Oh shit! Fuck! I better be him. Who else would it be? Who else should we talking about? Don't she only got one person she talked to? I feel like she wouldn't post that online and then date somebody else. Was that one that she posted? Was that
It was a close friend.
the second one, the one that said that she's dating somebody? Was that a close friends?
No.
That was public.
The first one was close friends. I don't know if she's dating him.
Damn. Well, she got a boyfriend now. Huh?
Yes. She has a boyfriend now.
Have you seen him?
Know.
Oh, you don't know. You don't know who it is.
I don't know who choked.
You gotta text her. You gotta ask her. You gotta ask her. Like, yo, who your boyfriend? What else choking you? That's a boyfriend. You gotta find out. Stay tuned for next week. We'll find out whether or not who was choking her and fucking her and dating her. Are they the same person? Last week I also talked about scaring your girlfriend and why it's good for you to do it. Right now, an example of that, because I didn't really give examples of it from my personal life, was one time where Melissa and I were on a bus and I had grabbed her. And I started screaming on the bus and for us to run off the bus because her anxiety was driving me crazy. She felt like we was going to miss the train to get back home. We went to the mall. And I'm like, Melissa, relax, calm down. It's not that serious. And she started getting jittery in the bus. And I'm like, you know what? Okay. If you think we're going to miss this bus, all right, I got you. I'm going to make sure we don't miss this next bus or this next train. So as soon as the bus pulled up close to the stop, I started screaming, oh my God, stop the bus, we gotta get off, right? So I'm grabbing her. I'm like, you want us to get there quickly? I got you. Maybe gonna make a scene and we're gonna make sure that we're getting there. So she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to be late. We went to the train, right? Let's go to the train. Come on, let's go. So now people look at me like I'm crazy. Everybody's staring at her, and now she's very uncomfortable, which is fine because I don't care because she's making me feel uncomfortable in a chair, being all jittery for no reason. She's bumping my leg on the way to the bus stop. I'm like, Melissa, we're not even at the bus stop yet. Why are you bumping my leg? Relax. It's not that. Like, what are you doing? She's over here fidgeting around in the chair. I'm like, Melissa, it's not that serious. It's okay. She ain't want to listen to me. I'm like, all right. So I pulled the lever, crunk, and I was like, you know what? We out of here. So I grabbed her. I'm like, Melissa, come on. So I'm grabbing her arm. We get off the bus. We jump off the bus. We're running down the street through all types of people in the middle of the night. We're running around screaming. Oh, I'm screaming to everybody like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God, where's the bus? Sir, where's the bus at? Sir, do you know where the bus is at? Is it over here? Sir, oh my God. Now I'm like, my girlfriend wants to go. We got to get back to the bus right now. Where is it at? Right? So we're running in the middle of the street. Now, this is why the reason I say this, because funny enough, she started crying, which is, I mean, again, girls be crying for no reason. This shit happens all the time. It's like fucking turning on the faucet. It just be water comes out. If I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, were you excited by this? You hear that laugh? Uh huh.
Uh,
Uh huh.
it was amusing.
Okay. And why was that amusing, even though you were crying?
Because what I thought was what happened didn't happen, and it was funny. It was funny.
Okay.
It was funny.
So yes, I had to make a scene because to prove a point. Because, like I said, and it's a scary, uncomfortable thing that was happening because she didn't know what was going on. She didn't know why I'm screaming and jumping around and running around like a crazy person, right? So this is what I mean by scaring your girl, because now she's over here smiling. See, because you have to have these snapshot moments in your head of going down in your future relationship. Like, you remember that time when you was acting a fool on the train and the bus because I was fidgeting? I'm like, yes, I do remember that. You want me to do it again right now? Like, you want me to do? I can do it right now if you want me to on the plane. Yell bomb. As you want me to do, we can do all of that, right? So, but yeah, that's an example of kind of scaring your girl because they need it. And then there was no real danger of us missing the train, or even if we did, what would happen if we miss a train? We're not gonna die. We catch the next train, maybe we have to wait an hour or two, whatever. It's fine, but it's not that serious. So I feel like girls need that little excitement every once in a while, just to kind of like just like jolt them back up a little bit. Oh shit! Oh, that was okay. Well, what was that? They need that every once in a while. So remember that everything should not always be like copacetic. Everything shouldn't just be great all the time, or not even great, because that's a part of great. Everything shouldn't just be bland all the time. Throw a little bit of excitement in there, scare your girlfriend. Okay, Bamboo Project Gym. Now, there is no Donovan's question today, but there are some topics I definitely want to touch on. Not main, but the first one I want to touch on is I have a love-hate relationship with the word daddy. Right now, I, growing up, was dating mostly Spanish women, right? Or half and half, like a lot, some Arnold Palmers, right? And for me, that's part of their, or for them, it's a part of their vocabulary, right? It's Poppy, Zaddy with a Z, right? They love that shit. And then Daddy. It's all these types of things, right? And growing up, I'm like, yeah, call me that shit. I used to love that shit, right? And I had a friend who was like, nah, that's weird to him. I used to think like, bro, why is that? Like, what's wrong with you? You like, what you mean you like being called daddy? He was like, nah, I just don't really like that. That's kind of weird. I'm like, nah, you bugging, bro. Like, you need to get you a girl that's call you daddy. Like, when you just, and I even like, even in sex, just like regular life type shit. Like, oh, can you pass me the computer, daddy? And you be like, oh, that was sex. Like, shit like that, right? Now, that was my take on it before. And I was like in high school, like early college, and so honestly, up until probably like within the last 3 years or so, right? Now, it makes me feel good when I hear it, right? I get my day gets hard when I hear it, and I'm like, I get excited when I hear it. But I also think about the psychological ramifications of that term, right? Now, I know this is deep, right? Now, also funny enough, I heard an example of somebody who, because I don't want to be one of those too woke people when it comes to fucking, because I heard of a situation where a girl didn't want a guy to give her back shots because she felt like it was disrespectful, and she only wanted to be missionary facing him or facing her because anything else was rude. Now, I don't want to be that guy, right? But it sounds like I am, and I feel like I am, but I don't want to be that guy. But this is my thoughts on this. So my issue with, and now when I have sex, I'll be like, now I'll be saying it, but it's like I said, it's a love and hate relationship because it makes me feel good when I say it. But trauma normally does do that. That's normally how it is. You feel traumatized by something, and then you go, okay, this makes me feel comfortable because I'm normal. I have normalized my trauma, and now that is what I feel good in. That is the space that I feel comfortable in. It's my traumatized space. So I used to be like, when I was talking to a girl, I used to tell them to call me daddy. Like before we even really got into anything deep, they would be nicknamed. I'm like, nah, call me daddy. She was like, what? I'm like, I said, call me dad. She was like, okay, if that's what you want me to do. All right. And this is when I was running game because I was trying to put myself in a situation where I'm like, I want you to know I'm fucking, like, I'm daddy. Like, I want you to know that. Right. So I know the girls like it. It turns them on. It turns me on. Everybody's normally happy. Right. But as I have increased my intellectual capacity, I have started to dissect why this happens. Right. And what happens, or what are the ramifications of this happening. So, uh, the reason that I started to dislike it is because I feel like it makes girls, it reinforces the idea that girls are below men. I feel like when they do it, it's almost like it spills over outside of the relationship. And I always want my girl to be a strong woman. And I don't want her to feel like I'm daddy in terms of having to save her from things that she's not really in danger by. And I also don't want her to feel like I have to be her actual father. So those two things bother me. I don't want to be anybody's parent. So I feel like by using the word daddy, it reinforces that mindset. So I would, this is the mind. This is what I believe. I think is that I believe that when they call you daddy regularly or even at all, because my thing is, why would you want to call somebody that? Why is that attractive? Why does that turn me on? Why does that turn them on? Why is that happening? That's what I be thinking about. And I'm like, I I like it. So what do you think about this, Melissa, as a girl? What's your opinion on this? I believe it reinforces that stereotype or the ideology, but I enjoy it. So, as a female, from a female's perspective, do you have any words on this?
Um, I think that if it was a constant thing, it would be, I guess, more demeaning. I could see why that would kind of take a toll on you if that was like every day, like, yes, daddy. Yeah, it's kind of like a yes, master kind of thing.
Right. Yes.
But I do feel that, like, you know.
See, she doing the way. I'm about to get turned on.
Huh?
Go on. Listen.
Oh my gosh. I do feel like like I said, if it's a more constant thing, I don't think is positive. I do feel like it could add a little razzle dazzle to things. Because I don't think is the word submissive?
I don't think that's the word, but that's what I used.
Yeah,
that's not the right word.
That's what I'm saying. Because it's like, I don't think that it's necessarily a problem, depending on what atmosphere it's in. Because it's kind of like, I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it kind of comes down to. Like, I trust you in this moment.
Why you don't call me uncle?
You. That's weird. I know.
Like, yeah, granddad. Like,
yeah, granddad.
like, I feel like it's daddy, and I just don't understand where that comes from. And my thing, one reason I even brought this up is because I felt like, in my relationship with Melissa, I felt like she wanted me to be her dad at certain points, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I feel like I said earlier, in the last 2 weeks, she has really geared away from that. I guess I don't know what happened in the last 2 weeks. Are you cheating? Are you fucking somebody? Who you talking to? I know what it is. She's fucking somebody. We'll talk about this later. I know what it is. Who you talking to? Who is it? Yeah, I knew it. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So I felt like, okay, there are too many instances where I feel like she would be looking to me for, one, validation, and then two, for me to kind of punish her, but it's not in a sexual standpoint, more of like a oh, I did a wrong thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't, like, that kind of thing. And I don't like that, because like I said, I want my girlfriend to be a strong person. So I'm trying to figure out, is there a balance between those two things? And if there is, where is it at? Because it still turns me on when I hear it, like, a lot. Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, that's because I kind of was like, I think you should not say it. There was a point in time I was like, yeah, I don't think you should say that word.
There was a point where you told me not to say it.
Yeah. I was like, Melissa, don't say that, because, like I said, another thing too, I just felt like, you know what it was? Maybe I feel like it's a weapon that you don't know how to handle yet. I think it was like a tool that you were just not able to use. That's what I feel like. I feel like maybe you should just, like, hold off on that until you are able to help. It's a heavy sword, Melissa. It's heavy, and you be swinging it around before, and it was not needed. You was throwing it over your shoulder. I'm like, Melissa, you're gonna hurt yourself using this word. You need to stop using this word. So yeah, but I'm curious what other people think, because I know that there are people who don't like it, and I think what Monique does with her man when she calls him daddy is very strange to me. Have you heard her do it? I'll play it for you later. And she'll be in an interview, and she'll be like, yeah, my daddy told me I can't. I'll be like, mine, she's married, but she talks about him like that, and I'm just like, that sounds mad weird to me. Yeah, it sounds weird as hell. Like, she be saying it, and it's like, it's like if you were talking to my mom and you were calling me daddy, and he's not even like, that's what it is. It's not a sexual daddy. That's the problem too. It's more like this is my dad. Like, yeah, my daddy told me I can't, and you like, what? That's weird as fuck. I'm gonna play it for you because that's the only way I feel like you have to hear, because I can't do the tone that she was doing it in. It's very soft, and it's a lot less sexual than it should be, I feel like. And she's definitely doing it in settings that she shouldn't be using that word, I feel like. So that's why I think it's weird. So there are definitely people who feel like you should say it, and other people who feel like you shouldn't say it. So I'm curious how people feel about that. Now, what makes girls a hoe? How much time we have? We have like 1:30. I might take a deep breath for a second.
Yeah, 1:30.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so yeah, I got about, I think I can take care of 2 more on here. I can't forget play fighting with girls. I feel like that was in the thumbnail, so I can't not use that one. All right, so Melissa is a domestic violence abuser, and so
I didn't notice about myself.
yes, well, we Project Podcast. We just helping the people out there. So the thing about this is, right, I feel like a lot of women feel like it's okay to feel like I'm about to die. I feel like a lot of women feel like it's okay to hit men as a joke, and I feel like that should never happen. You should not play fight with your man. At any point, I don't think you should be physical with your man, because it escalates to something bad happening. I don't think there's a reason to do that. So Melissa used to fight men, not fight. I feel like that's a strong term. I feel like I feel like you was trying. I feel like you was trying.
No.
Well, have you slapped a guy in the face? So you gotta think about
No. Seriously, slapped a guy in the face? I can't see myself doing that.
But what were you doing to them?
I could see me playfully slapping somebody in the face.
See, there's no playfully slapping nobody in the face.
Yes, there
No,
is.
there's not.
Because it's not, it's groceries.
I'm like, bro, eviction. That's what I'm thinking it is.
I'm not slapping the shit out of anybody, kid or anything like that.
But you should never put your hand on somebody's face.
That's why I can't remember if I did or not. I wouldn't be surprised if I did. I wouldn't be surprised if I did.
Right. So this is why I brought this up, because I feel like this is my theory. Melissa and I were talking about this the other day, and I feel like I'm gonna do some testing, but I do feel like women hit men because their father didn't beat them, and I feel like women don't understand that when they play fight with men are not trying to hurt you, right? Like they're actively holding it back. But I feel like women don't think that. They go, oh, I hit you, it didn't hurt, so I'm gonna try to hit you as hard as I can. And it's like, men are like, listen, I can feel you hitting me. Like, I know you're hitting me and they're starting to hurt. I think you should stop. But we're not going to hit you with our full force because we know we could hurt you. But for some strange reason, women don't understand that. And like I said, I think it's because they don't get whippings by their parents. Now, I'm curious, what time is it? I'm going to call my sister. She probably at work. What's today?
Today is Tuesday. No.
Tuesday. Today is Tuesday.
One thing that I would like to say though is that like there obviously there's boundaries, and it's like if you tell me that this hurts or you want me to stop or something like that, then of course I'll stop. But guys like to act like it doesn't hurt or that can't faze me. So but it's said in a way where it's like, oh yeah you're not strong enough, so you gotta hit me harder than that. So it's like, okay, so next time I'm gonna hit you harder than that.
I don't think they say that. I don't think the guy be like, hit me harder. I think they just don't respond to the pain, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing with a guy. If a guy hit a guy, what?
And it's like and I'm under the impression that my hits don't hurt you.
Why are you
feel
under that
them
impression? But why?
because y'all don't say nothing.
But why are you hitting him in the first place?
Because that's kind of like what we did.
Why?
Is what we did. It's what we did. I've been play fighting with people since I was in elementary school, kindergarten, all that stuff. So it's literally a constant throughout my life. I could tell you a person in each phase of my life that I was play fighting or hitting with.
Were you play fighting with girls?
Girls, no.
Now, why?
Because I never really.
Because your mom beat your ass. That's why.
No.
Because you knew a
That's
woman
not
could
true.
beat you up.
I didn't hang out with girls like that. To be honest, I hung out with a lot more guys than I hung out with girls. I only play fought with one girl. Yeah, I guess I did, but that was in high school. So I play fought with guys way more than I play fought with girls.
Yeah, like I said, my theory is that is why girls be hitting guys, because their dad doesn't actually spank them. So me growing up, I'll give you some stories of me, because I wish I still had it in me to hit a girl like I did when I was younger, right? I don't have it anymore, but I feel like it would be good because a lot of girls be wilding. Example number one, huh? Melissa. I would hit Melissa. When she spit food in my face. This is what I be talking about, because they be thinking that it's funny. See? Yes. She thought it was going to be hilarious, like it was in a cartoon, and I had made a joke, and she pretended like it was so funny she spit the food in my face. Now, that is a prime time to punch somebody in the nose. Like, that is prime time I could punch you, and people would go, why you spit on him, right? But again, like I said, I don't... She spit all the food in her mouth on my face. All of it in my face. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like... Okay, like I said, micro expressions. I saw her look at me to do it at me because she thought it was going to be funny. She thought it was going to be a funny thing to do. This goes back to the immaturity thing. And this is where it ties in, where it's like the immaturity can't happen if you're dating somebody, because those type of things would be grounds for breaking up. If we're friends, maybe that's okay. But if it's like that, you can get beat up for that. Like, you can really get beat up. Anybody. Could you imagine if you're eating with your male friend and he spit his food in your face? Could you imagine that? Your bestest friend, your brother, your dad. You're sitting down. Who does that? Who spits food in somebody's face? Prime example to get hit, right? Now, when I was younger, right, there was one girl. I remember she kicked me. She kicked me? No. She hit me with her lunchbox in the 3rd grade. I'll never forget this shit. I remember a lot of these things. Because girls be wilding. This is what I'm saying. Girls be wilding for no reason. I be chilling. Girls want to hit you. So I don't care about the whole liking you shit. Get your trauma in order. Don't hit me. This girl gonna hit me with her lunchbox in the 3rd grade. So I'm like, bitch, you bugging the fuck out. So I had to kick her and drag her by her hair across the schoolyard, because obviously girls need to understand that this is not okay. Like, you should not be hitting me. There is no reason that a girl should be hitting a guy in any instance. It's not funny. It's no reason, because it's like, how often do guys go around hitting girls? Like, I don't think, like, why? Even as a joke, I don't even know. Maybe your ass. Maybe you guys have some pent up trauma from us smacking your ass so much that y'all just want to fight. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. I think that y'all be like, oh my goodness, y'all smack my ass so much that I need to punch you guys.
Y'all shouldn't. In the head, it's like, y'all shouldn't be hurt by this. I'm not hurting you. I'm not doing anything wrong. You're not hurt.
See, they say stuff like that, right? And then when they say that in the news, when people say, oh, a black woman, she shouldn't be hurt in the hospital because she's a black, strong woman. So let's do all of, she don't need anesthesia when she gives birth, right? Now it sounds crazy, right? Now it sounds crazy. Exactly. Now it sounds crazy. When it's a guy, like, oh, he's a guy, he don't feel pain. It's like, why would you think that? What makes you think that? Same thing with,
I mean, y'all be saying that.
y'all be saying y'all a strong black woman. And then what? Does that mean y'all don't need anesthesia? No. It don't mean that. It means that I can endure pain. It means I feel the pain.
I will hit the guy.
Yes.
Like, I'll punch him in the arm. And I will
Yes.
ask him, does that hurt?
Why?
And they're like, no.
But
They'll
why?
say no.
But why? Why?
They say no.
But no. You already passed. Why did you make a decision to punch him? That's the question. Because as a guy, I feel like there's a difference between a guy and a girl. There's a difference. I feel like if I play with my guy friend, I know he could beat my. I know this because he could possibly fuck me up. Like, there's a point in this interaction that if it goes too far, he could punch me in my face. With a girl, it's like, worst case scenario, I hurt him really bad and he walks away. Do y'all ever think that he might really choke me out and fuck me up?
I mean, my brain doesn't think that I can hurt you. more or less. That's pretty much what it is. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna hurt him real bad and then he gonna walk away. It's more so, oh, you cannot get hurt by me.
I'm gonna call some people. I'm gonna call my cousin. I want you to call your friend that just got her apartment, and I would like you to find out. Actually, I want you to call.
I think it's funny
call three of your friends.
Because I feel like oh, wait, when I call them, what am I asking them?
Do they play fight with their significant other right now, right? And what is their opinion on play fighting with males? And did they do that at any point? So you call your 3 friends, and then I will call my 3 friends, and then we will figure out. Can you come over here for this so I can get it on the? Okay, that's 0 for 1.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the podcast. How you doing?
Oh my God,
Well, you're not.
they can't see you.
Yeah, you can't see you.
Oh, okay.
So, I'll ask the question. My question is, well, do you have a significant other right now? First question.
No.
Okay. So, the last one that you did have, did you guys play fight?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because it was fun. Sometimes it was just because, they were aggravating me.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes it just led to sex. Just for various reasons.
Huh. Okay. So, how do you feel about hitting guys that are your friends, your male friends?
Just regular male friends?
Yeah.
They get hit too. Yeah, they get hit too.
Okay.
They get hit.
Now, my question is, why is that?
Why do I hit them? I think I'm just an aggressive person.
Do you think that it hurts them?
Sometimes, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. And do they hit you back?
It depends. Like, if I'm play fighting with them, yeah, they hit me back. Yeah, like we fight, like actually fight.
Really? Okay. And does it hurt when they hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, because the podcast today, I'm trying to figure out girls play. Oh, this other question: did your dad spank you growing up?
My dad? No, not my dad.
That's a theory. That's right there. One theory. So my theory is that girls play fight with guys because their dad didn't beat their ass, and they feel like they don't know what it looks like to get beat up by a guy. So they feel like, oh, okay, I don't know what it is, so I play fight with guys.
I don't think that's what it is though, because my dad didn't beat my ass, but I consistently fought my dad, like, just because my dad, like, he is actually the person that taught me to fight, so, like, we would be, like, MMA fighting, but it wasn't, like, a discipline thing or, like, a beating, but we fought, like, all the time, like legit fought, like, punches and stuff, but it wasn't, like, it's like, no, like, those, no, listen, y'all know my relationship with my dad is crazy, but, like, me and my father have fought.
Uh-huh. But when you say fight, because I'm like, I don't think your dad was actually fighting you. Like, what age was this?
Like, he didn't, like, use all his man strength and, like, put me in a headlock and took me out and then, like, maybe pass out. But, this was all through my life. Just
like last year?
Nah, he hasn't done, well, I don't see my dad that often now.
That's something like, what age was this? Like, what age were you guys play
From,
fighting? But this is it's a while ago.
Yeah.
So, okay, because this is my thing about what you're saying, right? I can't see how your dad was in any way even remotely using any strength when he was fighting you, right? Or teaching you how to fight, I'm assuming. It sounded like y'all was sparring, and it sounds like he was probably just kind of like would tap you and just kind of be like hold you off, maybe a little bit of wrestling. Is that what I'm hearing? Was he punching you and kicking you?
Yeah, I was getting punched and kicked. So, like, I knew how to eat it.
Uh-huh.
I knew how to take it.
You knew how to eat it.
Like, I really don't think he was using all of his strength, but he was making sure, like, even if I'm fighting a guy, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, and, like, fall out. Like, I'm going to be able to, still get up and defend myself.
Huh.
Saying this out loud is crazy, but, like, damn.
I mean, I mean, I think it's good.
I'm like,
I definitely think it's good that you guys were. I guess I think he was teaching you how to defend yourself, but I don't think that you have been. Maybe I don't. Yeah, I don't think that he has ever hit you from what you're saying with anger.
yeah. It
Oh,
was never like out of like anger.
okay. So that's like I said. My theory is that's what my theory is right now. So you and Melissa both did not get beat by your fathers, and you both like to beat on men. So
He
I'm,
make it sound so crazy.
Like, you know, it's just, you know, I be done enjoying it. Like,
so, but yeah, that was the question we have for today. Thank you.
Oh
I
my
appreciate the
gosh.
call.
Why are you making it seem like I'm beating people ass or something like that?
Cause you are. Cause you are. Now I have a couple people I'm gonna call. Maybe. Yeah. Damn. I don't know what I should call him. That's like a. I was gonna call an ex, but like it's a nine. Should I think I should call?
You're not doing that.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey,
Who's this?
I'm looking for Claudia.
Claudia? Who's speaking?
Donovan.
Donovan.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's going on? I don't know who this is though. I think I know who it is, but I'm not sure.
Who is it?
I don't know your name, so I don't know.
Take a guess.
I have no idea who
Who do you think it is?
hello, let me see. Say something.
Hello? Donovan? No?
Nah, no.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Oh no, you know what it is? No, she has another friend named Donovan. That's what it is. You probably think I'm him.
Who?
I think he's gay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah. I'm like, I definitely don't know who this is, but yeah, okay, that's what happened.
Yeah, I'm thinking Donovan.
Yeah.
Donovan is this?
I guess I met her like mad long ago, like 7 years ago. Of course, I'm doing a podcast. I want to ask her a question.
Got you.
Yeah.
Hold on.
All right. Hey, hello.
Hello.
What's going on, Claudia?
Oh, I forgot. I gotta give you my new number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is what I use for the daycare now. Let me.
Oh.
929.
Hold on, let me write. Hold on.
He's like, Donovan's on the phone.
Yeah, he thought I was
He's like,
the best friend,
podcast.
Donovan.
I was like, Sam. I was like, you mean Sam? He's like, no. He said his name.
Oh.
Was Sam. I was like, no, you mean Sam.
That's funny. But yeah, I wanted to ask you some questions for today's topic.
Oh.
Okay, so it's gonna be a quick call. The topic right now is girls beating on men. That's the topic right now, right? Yes. So, my girlfriend, right, in her younger days, was known to play fight with men, right? Now, I'm curious. Do you and your significant other play fight?
No.
Okay. Why is that?
Because my mama taught me not to touch nobody. No. Honestly, you know why? Because I feel like that opens the door. Because if we do it playing the same way, I don't allow him to, like, or him or anyone else to call me bitch. Because I feel like that's opening the door that could potentially lead to something else. And once you open those doors, you can't close it.
Okay, I agree with that. That was one of my reasons. The other okay. Also, when you were growing up, did you play fight with guys growing up?
No.
Okay, so this is like a
Even allowed to play
consistent
with
thing.
boys.
Oh.
Right. I'm so serious. My mom was strict. I wasn't even allowed to play with boys.
My theory is that the reason that girls play fight with guys is because they weren't beat by their dad when they were younger, so they don't know. Yeah, they never had they never actually seen firsthand a guy being angry and hitting them.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of have it also playful and stuff like that. They don't actually have the
Does she have
perspective.
brothers?
You're right. Yeah, she does. So do you have a
That
brother?
could be it too. I have 4 brothers.
You're right. Did you guys play fight?
No.
You said no, you never?
Mm-mm.
How much older are they? Or what's the age differences?
My brother's only 2 years. I'm 28. My brother's gonna be 30 in 2 years. And my little brother is 23. So we were pretty close in age. But also in my household, I grew up like with extreme like gender roles. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So like the girls weren't allowed to clean the bathroom, like the toilets, or throw out garbage.
Really?
You know what I mean? Mm-mm.
Wow.
So,
I've never heard that.
yeah,
Okay.
they weren't even, yeah, so it's just so funny you ask these questions. I was just talking about something similar to this with my family. They're just very, I don't know, they're very strict when it comes to girls. Like, I didn't start hugging my oldest brother until I was like, he started hugging me until I was like 19. Because it was just, I don't know, it's weird. My family's really weird when it comes to the girls and the family. So we were like sheltered a lot. But then, and also, I'm a believer that if you don't want to, like, I just believe you start playing hand like that is going to lead to other things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I
And
think.
obviously, sometimes when you play, you know, you might hit somebody hard one time. You know what I'm saying? And then it might reoccur again. Like, are you playing? So now she wants to hit you back hard. You get what I'm saying? So now y'all open the door of hitting each other hard. Okay, now it's going to come a time where you're going to have a really heated argument. And maybe you already done it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I feel like...
No, I definitely agree with that.
Like, it could just, like, you, like, just makes the next person feel comfortable with that. Like, oh no, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to explain it, but, like, if I hit you, and I'm like, oh no, Donovan's cool with that. Like, I've hit him before. It's not that big of a deal. You instantly, your mind just cancels it out as, it's not a big deal. He hits me, like, all the time. It's not a big deal. You know?
Yeah.
Or, like, even you can't control the next person either. You don't know how comfortable, let's say, you might be with hitting me. I might be like, hey, like, we can play fight, but anything thinking that is a problem. And I don't know how you might, you know, whatever, you can't control everyone. Maybe you feel like, oh, well, I already hit you. It's not that serious. And I know in my relationship, I don't even allow my boyfriend to curse.
You said the curse?
Mm-hmm. Like, we don't curse at each other.
When a guy and a guy play fight with each other, I feel like there's always that understanding that, okay, depending on how hard you hit me, we could, like, break out into a real fight right now. And I feel like when a girl hits a guy, they don't have that thought of, oh, this could really turn into he punched me in the face. So they continue to hit the guy harder. And another thing I think I realized from what Melissa was telling me is that when a girl hits a guy, they feel like, oh, he didn't really feel it, so I'm going to hit him harder.
Right.
And it's like men still feel it, but we just don't react the same way when we get hit by somebody. That kind of is kind of like a, I guess, an innate thing.
People who don't have that, like that thought process when being hit, like, oh, this is a girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, some people are just like, they retaliate the force, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, you hit me hard, I'm hitting you hard, kind of thing. But I don't play them games because that leads to a lot of things. I mean, I've never experienced it, but I just assume, and I was always taught that it leads to something else.
So yeah, that's been the general consensus. Well, for me on my end, and funny, Melissa's friend be beating on men too. So I'm gonna call somebody else, and I'm gonna see what people are saying.
Beating on men too?
Yeah, but they both be over here abusing men, just domestic violence.
It is. But why?
I don't. What is your reason, Melissa? What do you feel like your reason was for beating on men? Huh?
I was not beating on men like that.
Listen, she was. Listen, I feel like you was wilding on them. That's my opinion. I stand strong for my men, and I feel like you was out here just.
The only people I would really like play fight with was probably my brothers. They're the ones I would play fight with the most, and that's just kind of how we grew up.
And you ain't beat up the other guys. You ain't fight the other guys.
Oh yeah, I fought with them too, but it wasn't. I was not. They did not get hurt.
You think they didn't get hurt?
Yeah, I think they didn't get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, a guy's not gonna sit here and be like, "Damn, that hurt." Like, "Damn, you hit me hard." Like, I think, depending on the guy.
Yeah.
It's not. They're gonna be like, "How?" They're gonna laugh it off.
He probably walked away and was like, "Damn, this girl hit me hard."
Right, exactly. But like, sheesh, bro. Melissa can really hit. Like, she really.
Yeah, like she really got a punch.
I didn't really realize that this was an issue until later on in life.
Right. So one guy was like, "Oh, okay," and one guy had to throw her into a bush for her to realize that.
And
okay.
that is when I realized, and that is when I knew that this is no longer the thing that I wanted to do.
And this is exactly what we were just talking about, where it's like certain guys will be like, "Okay, you hitting me too hard," or they might hit you harder than
Right.
normal, but they not gonna hit you as hard as they can, and them hitting you harder than
Right.
normal still hurts a lot.
Me, I've never experienced, like you said, like I've never experienced a man hitting me ever.
Yeah.
So like any man raises their voice at me and I'm like, I'm gonna cry. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I also believe too, it's just for me, I'm not gonna do nothing that I don't want nobody doing with me. And nobody gonna play fight with me or play touching me, so I'm not gonna do that to nobody. Because I don't play with the hands.
Yeah.
That is crazy. Oh my god, Donovan getting beat now.
Listen, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. I don't want to hear that.
Blink twice.
I'm gonna call my lawyer. That's funny. But thank you, Claudia. I appreciate this.
Alright, no problem, you guys.
Later.
Okay, bye.
Okay, here you go.
Cause that's another thing too, where it's like they were hitting me too, and you just like it's like whatever else you gotta eat it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really believe. I can't even say that. Who's hitting who first?
It varies.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm
they
like,
would hit me too, but that
first,
could be
not two. First.
Yeah. Yes.
I feel like you want to believe that, but you don't know.
I
for
can't
sure.
remember, but I can't not see that happen because I remember I'd be minding my business, but it's one of those things where if that's already how the relationship is
with you and the rest of your friends too.
Yeah, like when I say we would hit each, like when I say we just fighting, brawling after school, running up and down staircase, trying to hit this person, punching this person. I'm pretty sure I even got bruises from like fighting. So
with your friends,
because it's what you said, where it's
shit.
if I hit you, and then you hit me harder than I hit you harder than normal, but not enough, not your full strength,
right?
That could still leave a mark on me.
Yes.
And that would happen, but like I ain't see nothing wrong with it. It was just like this is what happened.
Again, and one thing I'm also thinking about too is whether or not this is what category should it be put in the no category, or should it be put in the it depends on category?
I think that it is better to have a relationship without that in it.
Yes.
Because it just I think this is way better. I'm happy that I'm not hitting it. and I'm pretty sure Donovan is happy that I'm not hitting
I'm enjoying
him.
that I'm not getting abused.
So it's kind of like, but in my realm, I could see me initiating it because you've never hit me, but I've hit you at least once.
Yes. Well,
and that's when we had the
probably.
conversation about it. Yeah, I think I tapped you in your arm or something like that, and that's when we first talked about it. So that was in my realm of how I interact with guys. So I guess it's like breaking that touch barrier or whatever, showing that okay, we're cool.
Yeah.
But then I think guys do that with each other, and I used to hang out with a lot of guys, so that's part of it too. So I don't.
Well, funny enough, I don't do it with my guy friends either, but I do see that happens. Guys do play fight with each other, which is I see that more with guys. I don't personally do it anymore as I've gotten older, just because I'm like, I'd just rather not. Really, I feel like I'd rather us make money instead of play fighting. But
the bulk of my play fighting was
maybe
done.
wrestling. I don't know.
Wow, I definitely used to play fight at Starbucks too. Now I think about it.
With males?
No, not with males. With like the girls.
With females. So you was fighting with females too.
So, but I was gonna say that the bulk of my play fighting was in high school. So I was younger then, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So
Hello.
Hey, no.
You are on the Bamboo Project podcast.
Hi, people.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm alright. Hanging things up, got new hangers.
Ooh.
The question or the topic for today, right, is girls beating on guys. Okay? So, first question is, do you have a significant other? That's the first question.
No, I do not.
Okay. The last one that you did have, I actually don't have to be significant others. Did you play fight with them?
I play fight with them. No.
Okay. Why not?
People kind of take things too far. Play fighting kind of leads to fighting. So.
Huh. Have you ever played fight with a guy before?
Yes.
What was the circumstances like for you to play fight with him?
I mean, I don't know. People would just be the circumstances. It would just be random, to be honest with you.
Like, were you younger? Were you guys? He just like might hit you and you paid him back, or you like him? Like, what do you remember about it?
Yes, I was younger. Not like a child. I was an adult. And it would just be random. Like, I really don't know how it would initiate, to be honest.
Okay. So my theory. Oh, I'm gonna ask you a question first, and I'll tell you my theory afterwards. Growing up, did your dad used to spank you?
No.
No, he did not. Okay.
Nope.
So my theory is that girls who are not spanked or beat by their dad tend to play fight with guys because they have never seen what an angry guy looks like hitting them. So they don't have that perspective of going, okay, I know what this can turn into, so I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole of, oh my goodness, he might actually punch me or hit me. So that's my theory. Yes. What do you think about that?
I think your theory is, like, I'm going to say 95% right.
Okay.
The only reason why I say 95 is because you should add, like, women who see abuse in their family, because my dad was abusive. So I already know, like, how men can be. So
Okay.
I think they're clear of that.
Okay. So that's why I want to know what made you play fight with the guy before, because you said that your dad didn't hit you. So that would be the theory as far as not getting spanked by your dad. But you said you saw abuse, but you still play fight with him.
Right. So I never initiated it.
Okay.
From what I can remember, it's just kind of like if someone starts that, then, like, I'm going to assume if you're my friend, I can do it back. So.
And does it happen now still with your friend?
No, never.
Oh, so have y'all talked about it before, or you just stopped play fighting?
Oh, I'm not even friends with the person anymore.
Oh.
But,
Okay.
yep, moving forward, though, like, it just isn't a thing that would happen in my life.
Like, depending on who the friend is, would you still play fight with them, or would you go, nah, I don't want to do that?
No, I'm not playing for. I don't care who the friend is, to be honest.
Okay. Oh, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. See, so right now we have the girl. I have to call somebody else. Melissa has called two people, and they have said that they have played fall with guys, and they have not. But that's the thing, though.
I don't know. I don't
because
think you
the person
asked
that
her,
I
though.
called, I did.
If she still play fights, I don't think you asked that question.
But see, you know what's crazy? But Claudia didn't play fight with guys, but she also was not beat.
But her whole thing is that, like, you shouldn't be putting hands on people in general. So, like, she wasn't gonna go either way.
But that doesn't really prove my theory, though, because it's like I thought that if your dad does not spank you, then you would play fight with guys. So
I guess it's a part of the upbringing too, because my mom wasn't gonna stop me fighting Jermaine and Justin.
Yeah.
It was just gonna happen.
Huh? What was the youngest age you remember play fighting with somebody, with a guy?
I mean, he doesn't really count, to be honest. That's my brother.
I mean, it does count, just to kind of see if y'all do it or not.
Okay, so I ain't never play fight with that man. I was beating him up. We were fighting. Kung Fu. I mean, we were doing WWE moves. Like, we were in that crib bugging. But like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't really know if he counts.
I had to stop fighting Jermaine. He kicked me one time, and I flew into the dresser, and I was like, "Wow, that's not something I can handle again." And that's the last time I played fight with Jermaine. So I knew that my time was coming with Justin, so I made sure I got my hits in before he got older. But he's at that point now where I cannot play fight with Justin anymore.
Yeah, so I'm not a proponent of play fighting, especially not with somebody you're talking to, for sure. And then as far as friends go, I mean, at this age, I couldn't see how a grown adult would be play fighting with the opposite sex at this age. So even now, it would be kind of strange. But significant others, I think that shouldn't be in the relationship. One of them hit somebody too hard. Somebody feels like, oh, you being disrespectful by hitting me, and I think it just goes down a bad path.
I agree.
So, but thank you. I appreciate your input. Calling to the Bamboo Project podcast. Later. Okay, well, that will conclude the podcast. We only got 3 people on the phone. What?
I just realized my bonnet was on this whole time. My hair is like really nice today too. Y'all could have seen it, but
Yep. Stay tuned for next week. You might see Melissa's hair. So there are some topics I didn't get to today, which I will talk about next week. Who was more toxic, men or women? I didn't even talk about what makes a girl a hoe, which I was going to get to, and what's more important, security versus excitement for girls.
I like these topics.
Yeah, so that's gonna be next week's topic. So you can DM me for consultations. We can schedule something this week or next week. If you have a topic you want to discuss or something that we said that you want us to dig deeper into, then DM me on the Bamboo Project _ podcast. That will be in the description below. And if you haven't already, go check out our social media. We are on YouTube. We have 100 plus videos you can go and check out on there. Kind of get a taste of what we do on a regular basis, which would be the food project, the clothing project, the music project, the fitness project, the sports project, and the Bamboo Project _ podcast. And you can find me on Instagram at DonivanGray, DonivanGray, and my beautiful girlfriend AnetaBurn, AnetaBurn. Now, before I say the final words of the Bamboo Project, I just want to say Melissa is having a concert on Saturday, a virtual concert. You can go on her page to listen to her sing on Saturday, or find out the date and time. No, the time on Saturday if you want to hear her sing. Beautiful voice. Wholesale videos will be going up this week, and we have a lot of stuff coming up. So, with that being said, Bamboo Project out. Did you want to say it?
Yes. No. Well, I wanted to say something else.
Okay.
We are also welcoming guests. We shoot between 10
yes.
a.m. to 12 p.m. on Tuesdays. And to find my live performances, you should download the Sessions app. It's Sessions. It's a green app that says live on it. And my artist name is AnetaBurn, same as my Instagram. And it'll say all the show dates and all the show times for when I'll be performing. Bamboo Project out.